who's this?
This is Stephen Kirk. My number is 3, and I have absolutely 0 sponsors.
Yes! KMCS Championship Award Banquet, Grand National Finals USA.
Coming to you live.
We're live from the, not living room, bedroom. Hotel room.
Hotel room
Doggies.
of the best Western in Park City, Kansas. Am I too loud?
No, I'm just doing a little level testing here. Boom. Okay. Scott, give me a little.
Yo, 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 yo. Pow, pow, pow.
I'm going to bring
Bang,
yours
pow.
up a cunt here.
I'm kind of full from eating, so I feel like I'm getting winded just from talking.
All right. Steven, give me a little bit of noise.
Bang, ha, la.
Okay. So remember that it's
2 fingers.
no. Yeah. 2 fingers.
2 fingers.
So remember, we talk into ours like this. Yours is like this. Got it?
I got it.
Boom.
Got it.
Hey, congratulations. Actually, shake my hand. Yeah, thank you. Congratulations on being the most improved rider of the year.
Thank you. I appreciate it a lot.
Did you even know that there was such an award this year?
The only reason I knew was because I raced one race last year, and it was the very last race. And my dad asked me if I wanted to go to the awards banquet for last year, just to hang out with him and everything. Yeah. And so I went to that one, and so I only knew about the award because of last year's banquet. So I was aware of the award.
That's funny. I didn't know they did it last year.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I thought it was the first thing for this year, but no, cool.
I want to say they did.
Perhaps they did,
sure.
but I wasn't a part of the series last year. And Jon-Paul. Okay, so backing up, Jon-Paul called me in like January right after he had been appointed the new series director, and that's whenever he brought you on board, Scott,
yep,
and a bunch of other new series sponsors to #Make Moto Great Again.
Hashtag.
So he asked me, hey, what do you want to do for the series this year? And I was like, well, I'd love to sponsor it, but I'm small time with Rip and Ruts. And then Over the Bars is a podcast. I don't know what it is that a podcast can really do other than just jock the shit out of the events and help you promote and give, somebody an incentive. So we're going to get somebody on the show one way or another. And then through further discussion, we decided that I was going to do the most improved rider of the year for both big bikes and little bikes. But because I have 2 companies, I had to figure out 2 different ways to help out 2 different riders. So I figured it wouldn't work out very well to have a mini bike rider on the podcast just because, getting a little kid to talk is kind of hard. So I said, well, let's get a big bike rider on the podcast and then a mini bike rider, give him a set of stickers. And it's awesome to be able to give away the stickers, but for you, see, the cool thing is no, you don't have any physical thing that you get to hold in your hand. But mind you, tens of thousands of people. I was telling you earlier that I was like, this is just a core motocross podcast. It is.
Globally.
And I did, yeah, dude, we're talking New Zealand, Chile, Germany. People all over the world are going to know who you are now. How sick is that?
That's pretty cool. I mean, it's something too, not only do people get to hear me, but I think this is something, the stickers will fade, the stickers will come off the bike, but this recording, this podcast will be forever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bingo.
Yes. That's exactly what I wanted to do is give someone an award that goes beyond just a plaque or a trophy or a sticker kit. I mean, I could have gotten you a gigantic trophy and you're like, oh, hey, cool. But then, the truth of the matter is it collects dust.
And then 10 years from now, you're going to take it apart or throw it in the trash or whatever.
Yeah.
I'll be moving somewhere to a new house or something, and I'll be like, okay, I don't want to bring this with me.
You're over it. Yeah. Now, meanwhile, this bad boy causes no extra baggage, gives you no problem other than it's out there.
And anybody can listen to it. Grandma, grandpa, uncles, aunts, cousin lives in California, whatever.
Yeah. And I mean, like I told you, you can say anything you want on this podcast. It is like I post it as an explicit podcast. We say shit, fuck, goddamn, whatever, everything on here. So don't think that you have to censor yourself. This isn't radio. Same thing. Okay, you said you listen to Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Same deal.
Okay,
here.
perfect.
Okay, yeah. I mean, it's the same deal as Joe Rogan. All right. So with all that being said, dude, I was so what? Oh, you give me a look. I was so fucked up on that stage whenever I had to announce the names. Not because, and I don't drink. I had not a Monster, a Bang energy drink on an empty stomach. And I don't know if you could see it, but whenever I was up on the stage and I was trying to put the sentences and the words together, what I noticed is that my hand was going like this whenever I'm holding the microphone. And not because I'm nervous, because I don't get stage fright, but because my fucking caffeine, dude, was like...
Blood sugar was out of control.
Absolutely spiked. So I'm up there trying to hold it together. There's 400 people staring at me, giving me the stairway to heaven, and all I can think about is how bad my hand is shaking. So, yeah, I don't know if you...
I mean, considering you're making it sound as bad as you are, it didn't seem as bad.
Oh,
Yeah,
no,
I didn't notice it, and I was taking pictures.
Right. No, and see, that's the thing. Obviously, I'm the only person in the world that was standing there thinking, God, dude, his hand is going nuts. Because it was me, my hand, and I'm just going like this.
Right.
Anyway, dude, yeah. So the writers of the series voted you, and then Rife. Is it
Duncan
Rife?
Rife.
Yeah, Rife. I said Reef on stage, but Duncan Rife. So the other writers, and I didn't have any part of this because I only went to 2 or 3 KMCS races this year. So I left it up to Jon-Paul and the other track promoters, and they essentially went out into the pits and said, "Hey, what do you think of this?" There was no ballot, no ticketing, nothing.
Just discussion, straight up discussion between everybody.
Straight up discussion. It wasn't like a vote where it's like, "Hey, you have 5 riders, pick one of them."
Yeah, I was wondering about that because when you said, this was rider chosen, I was like, well, I didn't get to put in a piece of paper. No one came in
Because they were all voting for you. They were all picking you.
Yeah, and so I had no idea that we were actually voting, during the season, or I must have been, one that wasn't approached during the season. So so that explains a lot.
So let me ask you this. If somebody did come up to you and try to get your opinion on who the most improved rider of the year was, who would you have voted for?
Okay. It's hard to pick one. I just don't think I would have picked myself. And it's not like for a specific reason. It's just I started in the beginner class,
yeah,
and I ended in the beginner class,
right?
So I think it's like more objective. You can look at it that way. When there were people around me that I beat my first race, but now they're in the C class,
yeah.
And I think it's easy to put those people ahead of me, but I can't name a specific person, by name.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
What did I? Not that I wasn't paying attention, but what did you end up in? Did you race the whole series?
I raced every race but 2.
How'd you end up in your class?
I finished 3rd in the 450 beginner, and I actually only rode the 250 beginner a few of the races, and so I placed like 12th or something like that.
Does 3rd and 450 beginner class bump you up to novice for next year?
No, because most of the people pointed out, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So no, I'm not bumped up.
Okay.
So
are you gonna ride beginner again next year, or what's your plan?
My plan is to start in the beginner class next year. Like I'm hungry for that first win. I haven't won a race in the beginner class, and so I don't want to move up until that happens.
Yeah,
right.
Scott rode the beginner class for a solid year.
No, 6 races.
Well,
he's bragging over here.
No, I just to clarify. I probably shouldn't have rode the beginner class, but I rode it for 6 races back when the Missouri Spring Series or Midwest Spring Series. What was it? Midwest Spring Series, right?
Okay.
Back when it was still.
How long did you ride novice then?
Like 4 years.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
That's what I rode C class for a long time.
Yeah,
but I rode beginner for 6 races, and I won all 6, and I moved up to C class for the first state race or something. And I got 3rd or 4th, like behind Cagney and something, 2003. 2003. Yeah, 2003.
That's right. Yeah. Does that make you feel young?
A little bit, yeah.
So this is what I want. Give me a quick 1, 2, 3 profile on you. Name, where you're from, where you grew up at, what bike you ride, that kind of thing. Give me a little.
Yeah. Well, I was born and raised in Hutch. Always lived there. And as a kid, I was maybe 3 or 4, and my dad had been riding his whole life, and he bought me a PW50, and I actually rode that for I don't know, maybe a year or two, and he bought me a bigger.
You're kind of big for a PW50.
Well, now.
Oh, this wasn't like last.
Yeah, no, I'm saying I was 3 or 4.
Did you ride a PW50?
No, I went straight to the white KTM.
Did you? I had a pink and white PW50.
I had
Which
the
would've
regular
been-
blue.
The regular
What, like 90?
probably like a 93 or 94, probably something like that. Yeah, it was a pink seat and all white everything.
So
else,
when you were
with
in the
pink
C
wheels.
class, I was on a PW50. So
Okay.
that would have been like that would probably been like 2000, 2001.
Okay.
And I had a PW50, and I rode that for probably a year. I would guess around a year. And my dad actually was like, "Okay, you need to get off this thing." And he bought me another KTM. It was another 50, but it was the faster everything. And I had one race. I raced at Jeeps, and the bike. We bought the bike. Never practiced on it, anything. We had a race that coming weekend, and my dad's like, "Hey, you're gonna race this bike," And so I hopped
Go
on
big
the
or
thing.
go home. Yeah, might as well.
And I was really slow on the PW50. And when I started the race in the KTM, I whole shotted. I was out front, and I felt great. And then I went over the bars. I don't really remember. Like I said, I was a really little kid, and like it scarred me forever. And I didn't touch a dirt bike since end of last year. And so,
Dude, I can believe that. So I remember the first time I ever rode a motocross track. I was on my PW50 and I went to Kingsville. This is back when Kingsville, you just like put your money in the door, in the slot, and you could ride any day of the week
Yep.
or whatever. You sign the waiver, put your money in the door. And I remember going like, now nobody ever goes down the start when you go to practice. I went down the start straight away, big giant marbled chunks and shit. I crashed I went like 10 feet and crashed and screaming, crying, yelling at my dad. And I'm like, I don't want to do this, That's what I'm yelling to him. And he's like, I just drove your ass all the way out here. You're going to ride. You're going to ride the track. So I get up and then I go another 10 feet and crash. And I'm just freaking out, because I'm on this PW50, little wheels, big giant dirt clods, you know what I mean? And we obviously had no idea what we were doing at the time, or I didn't know what I was doing as a backyard champ. But at the track, I had no idea. Well, then I finally got going and rode the whole day. But it just, that same kind of thing where it was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to. But then finally figured it out. So I can understand being a little kid and being freaked out when you crash off the track or whatever.
What made you decide to get back into racing or riding?
I think it was a combination of things. As I grew up, probably till I was, 12, 13, I had no desire to ride. And then when I turned, 14, 15, it's kind of a weird story, but we were doing a bucket list in my health class. And on my bucket list, I put get my motorcycle license but street bike. And so when I turned 15, either 15 or 16, before I even had my car driver's license, I went and got my motorcycle license, and I started riding street bikes. And mind you, this whole time my dad is still racing dirt bikes, and so after getting accustomed to riding a motorcycle and learning on a street bike, how to shift, how to release the clutch slowly to take off and everything. I kind of leaned, I would watch him ride and I could appreciate him riding more, and I would go to the track with him and all that. And I think kind of that interest came back. And so I'm probably a sophomore in high school at this point. And so I knew I wanted to ride, and I would say things to my dad and everything, but nothing, I wouldn't go that extra mile, to be like, really approach him, sit him down and be like, hey, I want to ride again. I didn't go that far, I was just like, I think it'd be cool to ride. And he'd be like, oh, yeah, I'm sure, you'd like it and stuff like that. And so come college, I went to a community college and I finished there. And so I was like, I'm tired of making excuses, I'm in school, I can't ride, I'm doing this, I can't ride. I'm like, if I want to ride, I can ride.
Yeah.
And it was a weird thing. We were I was with my dad, and I don't know how the conversation went, but somehow it ended with the agreement that if I bought a bike, he would buy me the gear I needed to ride. And
That's a fair trade.
Yeah.
and I don't know how that agreement came, and I don't know if I finally did sit him down. I'm not sure about that, but I just remember that agreement. And probably a year went by, this was when I was in college, my first 2 years at the community college. And so as I was finishing up there, it was like a year later after we had made the deal. And it was kind of a whim thing. And I saw a dirt bike on Craigslist that was, cheap. I mean, it was a piece of crap. Like, I'll be honest with you. It really was. But I was like, well, if I buy this thing, I'll get gear and then I can ride. And it was $1,400. And, I had worked all through college and everything. And so I had some money saved up and I was like, why not? I keep making excuses not to ride. And so I might as well. And so I bought this bike, and now that I had the bike, I honestly just didn't even know how to approach my dad, like that I had bought a dirt bike without him. And I mean, he's
Even looking at it or knowing about it or anything.
anything like that. And I felt kind of bad. I was like, this isn't going to end well. He's going to be like, you're so stupid for doing this. I didn't think you'd actually do this, or even, it wasn't safe.
Yeah.
You were playing worst case scenario in your head during this.
Yeah. And so,
Everybody does that whenever they go to their dad with an idea.
well, but I figured I was invested at that point.
Yeah.
Like I had already got the bike. So it was like, what's the worst thing that can happen? He can't be like, no, you can't buy the bike. Well, I already have the bike. So it started with that, and so I started riding that thing in the backyard, because I have about 3 acres at my house. So it's a good actual, portion to ride on. And so I would take it out there and mess around with it. And so I finally approached him, and I was like, you remember we made this deal? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, well, I bought a bike. And you could tell, like, immediately he was kind of concerned and everything, which, I mean, understandably. And so he's like, well, bring it over, we'll look it over and everything.
Yeah.
And so my parents are divorced. So it's at my mom's house, not at my dad's house.
Okay.
Right.
And so one day I loaded up. I've got an old El Camino.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, that's my daily driver. So,
Yes.
So
What year?
77.
Oh, yes. That's
Well,
awesome.
you're cooler than both of us combined. We've established that. That was quick.
Check.
So I put, my 98 Suzuki RM250 in the back of my,
Classic Greg
even
Albertine
better.
bike, dude.
But,
Okay,
in the
I'm
back
your
of-
number one fan
of
right
my
now.
banana yellow El Camino.
Oh my God! Check. You know who's really stoked right now? Jason Hamilton.
Yeah.
is super stoked.
A lot of
right now.
people are excited about you right now, sir.
dude. Yes.
And so I take it to his house, and we get the thing unloaded. It had no bar pad. It was so raggedy. They had actually rigged like a jet ski ignition system, where like if
A pull cord.
to this thing and all this stuff. It was pretty ragged together, and so he's like, you can't ride this. Like, this is not rideable. And so we made an agreement. He's like, well, now I clearly know you actually want to ride, and he kind of took me a little more seriously now that I had went out and bought a bike. And so he's like, no matter what happens, you're not riding this, so you might as well go sell this, and we'll start, putting our heads together. And so I didn't even put a tank of gas in it. Like, I never refilled the tank. I only was riding on what I had, and I sold it for like $1,500 the next day. So I made $100 to rag on an old dirt bike for a few weeks.
That's just wheeling and dealing, man. That's good business.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I had like a pit bike company going for a while. Like I would buy like little SSR pit bikes and fix them and sell them. It was great.
SSR pit bikes. Didn't you have an extreme pit bike sponsorship deal through?
Actually, no. The way I
Right.
got that extreme bike, I don't remember the kid's name. I have no idea what his name was. He raced, and his sister always went to the track, and they were from like Lebanon area, somewhere around Springfield. And I had my KLX 110, and he had the Extreme, and we just straight out traded for him.
You lost on that deal.
No, because whenever I sold the Extreme, I sold it for more than what a KLX was worth.
Okay, so back in the pit bike boom era.
No, I sold it during the heyday of pit bikes.
Right.
Yeah.
So anyways, yeah.
Oh, dude, that's number one thing about this show is if you've got something to say, we're going this way.
Oh, definitely.
And then we'll eventually get it back, or we won't.
And so, yeah, so I bought this old Suzuki, sold it, you know, made $100 on it. And I got to talking to my dad, and I was like, you know, what are we going to do? And my whole family rides. And I had an uncle at the time that he had just had a kid. And so we're like, well, I don't know if he's going to keep racing or anything like that. You know, maybe he'd consider selling his motorcycle. So we talked to him, and he's like, no, like even with my kid, you know, I'm still planning on racing and everything. And so that was a no-go. But my dad had a good buddy, and he had a 94 KTM 250. But it sat like in his basement. Like it was like his trophy, you know? But like he also had a brand new one. He didn't need it or anything like that, you know? He would take it out once a year for like the vintage race and have fun with it. And so we got in touch with him, and he's like, give me $1,000 and you can have it. And so we're all thinking, you know, he only takes it out once a year. Like, it's still in great shape. And it was. I mean, you look at this thing, and it looked like you just took it off the showroom floor from 94. Like, it had the old white and purple, you know.
It would make Jerry happy.
was
Jerry would
awesome.
love that.
Oh, I know literally exactly what bike you're talking about, because my first KTM 50 was a 95. And the difference between the 95 and the 94, they were the same exact model, but the 95 livery was white, orange, yellow, and blue. Now the 94 was pink, purple, and blue. So that's the. I mean, it was just the sticker colors is the only difference.
Yeah, I had no idea. I mean, at this point, I didn't know anything about dirt bikes.
Right, yeah, I understand.
And so we go rescue this thing from his base. I say rescue. I mean, it was. I say rescue.
I love it.
It was still in pretty good shape, but you know, he wasn't doing anything with it. And so we get it. We fill it with gas. You know, it starts. It's perfect. Everything's good to go. And we take it to Jeeps. They had an open practice day, you know, come out and ride, and the thing rode great. Like I rode it, I was having fun. I mean, I didn't know what I was doing, but I was out on the track, you know, I was rolling everything, you know, just putting around. And
can I guess what happened?
Okay, sure.
I'm gonna guess that
You're gonna guess wrong.
Okay, but I'm just gonna guess.
Okay.
I'm gonna guess that the crank seals went bad and you locked up the lower end.
No.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I say no. Let me carry on. Okay,
Yeah.
so I ride. Everything was good, and I finished out the day. Like everything was perfect. The bike ran still good and everything. So I was happy. I was like, awesome. Like, I've got a bike now. Like, my dad knows I'm being serious. You know, we're gonna. And he bought me like a helmet, or I actually had a helmet and like an old helmet. And so I was just using that for the time. He let me borrow some of his goggles, some gloves, and boots, you know. So I was like, I've got gear on the way, you know. He said he'd help me out. And so I felt really great. And so then, like, 2 weeks later, they had another open ride event, which was pretty much the same exact thing. And so we go out there, and, like, we go to kick it over, and it would start, and then it would run for a little bit, and then it would just cut off. And I was like, what is going on? And it... we had no idea what it was, you know, and we're checking spark plugs, we're checking everything, and it would just foul the plugs, like, almost immediately as soon as we started it. And so luckily the guy beside us was a big KTM guy, and he's like, well, I've got this plug for it. So we put a new one in, same exact thing. Like, it idles for maybe like a minute and the plug goes out. And so I'm not sure. I don't know quite the details of how it all worked, but from what I understand, it had gotten condensation in the basically like where the stator is and everything, if I'm understanding that correctly.
Yes.
And it had rusted out completely, and you couldn't tell from the outside. I mean, like I said, the bike looked mint, and, you know, engine wise it was fine, but just that electrical from that rust, it had just completely ruined the ignition system, if I'm understanding this correctly.
And good luck finding a new stator for a 94 KTM.
And that was the exact problem. You know, it's not that it wasn't fixable. It was just finding parts to fix it was just not an option.
Right.
And so my dad felt bad because he was like, well, because this was my own money. You know, my dad's like, well, I found you the bike. You know, like, you spent your money on it. Now it doesn't run. My dad's friend felt bad because he's like, the bike runs great. You know, he had no idea.
Right.
And so luckily he was able to cut me a deal. I spent, you know, $100. He basically bought the bike back from me for $900. So he's like, well, you know, like, he could have not have bought it back at all. So to give me almost 90% of my money back, you know, it was just a super nice, you know, nice guy move of him. And so I really appreciated that. And so I just felt like, so disappointed at the time because I was like, I finally was able to ride again.
Yeah.
And I finally felt like I was getting on track. And then I had one bike that just wasn't, up to my dad's standard. He's like, no way. And then I just got another bike and he's like, it just quit running all of a sudden. So
JPP, do you want to join in?
JPP has arrived in our room here. He's here. He wants to do it.
Stand by 1 second. I'll plug in another mic. All right, we're back in. Yeah. Dude, you're breathing really loudly into that. Yeah.
I noticed there's one show we did that I was breathing heavy into the mic, and I didn't even know it.
It's easy to do because you'll be sitting here talking like this, and it's hard to go like this, like whenever you're not specifically talking, because you're like, I want to be able to be ready to say something, but the truth of the matter is that you kind of have to just go just a hair away. So anyway, so what'd your dad end up doing after, or you guys got?
So he bought the bike back.
He buys the bike back, and then after that, we go back on the hunt, for another bike. And it just so happened that there was a guy here in Wichita that was selling. It was an 02 YZ125, and again, everything looked great. Like it was super clean and everything. And I told him like I was on a pretty, not extreme budget, but being in college and everything, I didn't have $5,000 to spend on a bike or anything. And so he cut me a really good deal on it, and I ended up picking up this YZ125, and that was in November of last year, and that's when the Marion race happened, the very last race of last year, and I went to that road and raced. I say raced. I put it around while everyone else
You crossed
raced.
over the gate and the finish line.
Yeah. Well, after I got hung up in the gate, or I think I stalled there. I don't remember either one, but
So that one, okay, the last race of last year was at Green Acres.
yeah.
Which was the final race at Green Acres altogether, correct?
From what I understand, that's what they told me. So
Yeah.
Well, no, that's not true. Well,
John-Paul, can you chime in here?
I think that's right.
I'm pretty sure that was right. The last one was Marion last
Hold it
year.
a little
Green
closer
Acres.
to your mouth. Whenever you
Pretty
talk.
sure that was last race last year. Was
Yeah,
OT.
the final one.
Yeah, it was Marion.
So
They still hold like fun races out there that do.
No, they still hold fun practices. They're kind of.
Oh, so the track still exists.
Yeah, the track still exists. They're, one of their local legends, and so they're still around. And Ron does just random practices here and there. So yeah, they still do their thing.
Green Acres, 1999. It's middle of July. Core series race.
Core.
Scooter is on the mic, and and he's like, okay, everybody, first moto, we're gonna go to intermission, and then when Scooter's on the mic, What was that guy's name?
Honestly, dude, that's been so long ago, and I'm not gonna lie, I've hit my head a lot of times since then, so I can't even remember who the announcer was back.
The guy's name was Scooter. The shirt looked very similar, but it said Kansas Off-Road Riders,
Yeah.
black and white with a black collar, and it said Scooter in like fun, fancy font on his pocket.
Yeah.
All right, so here's what they used to do at Green Acres, okay? They would play music during the whole races, and then during
Constantly.
intermission, they would turn the music off, and Scooter wouldn't jump on the mic at all. Okay, so then what do they do? Whenever intermission is over, at full volume, they play
Never ever forget that.
Green Acre. They played
Do
the fucking
you want to know the only reason I know that theme song?
because of that track.
No.
Oh, okay.
I had to go on a trip to Florida with my grandma when I was like 7, and she bought us a TV. She bought us a TV that had a VCR built in, and she bought us every episode of Green Acres, and I watched Green Acres all the way to Florida
Wow.
when I was like
Wow.
8 years old.
Boy, that was a long trip to Florida.
Yeah,
Green Acres is
that's
the place for me.
That's the only reason why. As soon as you started singing that song, I knew exactly what you were talking about.
Yeah, but dude, okay, now mind you, it's hot as balls out. Me and my dad
Down in the pit area, like down where no wind exists on the planet
A
Earth.
bowl of heat.
my dad and I are laying in the motorhome on the couch in our underwears, both ACs fully cranked on, and like it is dead silent, and then that fucking song comes on, and it was awesome. I'll never forget it. I don't. That's just one of those things that was so
One of those
random.
things that just sticks.
Yeah.
Like you remember, like you hear that song, you're like, Marion MX. I'll
See,
never forget
like
it.
you, I started hearing that song.
I
Florida
mean,
trip.
Yep.
Green Acres will always be associated with that.
Funny shit. That is good. That's good shit, guys.
Do you have a memory with Green Acres at
I've
all?
never been to Green Acres.
What about the TV show?
No, nothing.
That's cool.
Missing out on life.
Apparently, I'm gonna have to look it up.
Do you watch it, JP?
The show? No. Marion MX? Yes. I will never forget. They always had the double down into the creek.
Yeah.
The sketchiest jump
And then
in
it
the core MX series.
And so you doubled down into the creek, you went down in the valley, and then
And
there
you
was
come
another
out and there's still a
tabletop.
big tabletop.
Yep.
And I couldn't tell you how many times to this day I've about endoed coming out of that tabletop.
Yeah.
There's a perfectly smooth face, but guaranteed every time I go there, at least one lap, I will about endo coming out of that thing every time.
And you're going to hit your head on the tree branches that come over the top.
No,
on the
they've
left side.
cleaned that up. They've
Oh,
cleaned
that's
that
nice.
up. But about to hit my head at the bottom of the corner.
Yeah.
Every time.
Let's talk very briefly KMCS 2018 into KMCS 2019. What is the what's the next big move for KMCS? I know that's kind of a hard question to answer, but what do you want to do with it for next year?
Honestly, this year went killer. I've established myself as a promoter and never thought I'd do that. So that was a huge part. I'll be quite honest. Starting dirt bikes in '98, I've never thought of see myself as a promoter. So we got through the first year, and it's only up from here. We killed it this year. Everybody was super pumped on everything, and sky's the limit. And I'm gonna try to reach it, and we're just gonna keep going from it. And we got some great sponsors from next year. We got some big things in the works, and we're just going to make it happen.
So I think that we've established that you # made Moto great again in Kansas. So now the next step is continue making Moto greater.
Yeah, continue making Moto greater. Maybe that's next year's slogan. I'm not gonna lie. I swung for the fences. Using that # making Moto great again, and put some big shoes to fill. And I feel like I succeeded at that this year, and we're just going to make it greater, and that's all we can do.
How long till you think your 2019 schedule until it comes out?
We're going to have a track owners meeting at the first of the year, so maybe end of January we'll try to have that out.
Speaking of that, will there be any track changes for 2019 added onto the roster, taken off?
We lost Tallgrass MX. Kevin's put hard in a couple years and just kind of didn't work out for him, so we lost them. And I'm looking right now. I'm looking for another track. I need that new one for the series, and we can see what can happen.
So, what I would suggest doing is absolutely 210% super dungy pumped amount of effort into bringing back Sterling Silver City.
Dude, if you haven't rode that track, you ain't a motocross rider.
Yep.
That is a legendary track. I would love to have that track back.
I guarantee you could make it happen again. And everybody that races your series would totally be fine with doing green flag starts out there just to get to ride that track.
Oh, yeah. That's the man of all man's track. Like sand pit, rollers floating into the water, man of man's track.
Steven, bar to bar the roughest track in Kansas.
That I know of.
Yeah. Okay. Silver City MX made bar to bar look like a freshly paved freeway.
And that is no BS.
And that's
Not one lie.
a nice way, that is underselling.
I've never been there. I don't even know where it is.
Yeah, okay.
Sterling, Kansas.
I don't remember where
Yeah, I mean,
Sterling,
is at,
Kansas is a hole in the wall.
I didn't even know
In
there
between
was a motocross
here-
track.
It's been gone a long time.
Oh, it was an old sand pit. And that's legitimately what it ran around an old sand pit. And you're talking about not a single straightaway that was there was parts that went straight, not smooth.
Yeah.
Ginormous rollers.
And of course, the feature of the track was where they dug the sand out of the middle of the property. So there's this giant lake, and they built the track lining the lake on two sides of it, but on this one side specifically, it went the lake was very straight, and so they dug out one. They would dig out one roller at the very beginning, and we're talking 3.5, maybe 2 foot tall at the very beginning. Okay, so you'd launch left side, track boundary is the lake. Right side, they kind of had a little embankment all the way down. Yeah, a little cliff. Okay, yeah. Let's call it a cliff.
Yeah, we call it a cliff.
Okay, so cliff up on the right, water on the left. What do? Send the first roller. Well, everybody goes to the right, stays away from the water. Well, as the track progresses on, everybody starts to go left, and as they go left, the water comes up into the rollers. So
It starts running across.
yes, exactly.
Just
so
filling up the whoops.
blitzing through these whoops, and in between is 6 inches of water of just so it was one of those tracks where you had to get a good start.
Guaranteed. Every time I got a hole shot, I guarantee you I was hitting the water.
Oh, yeah.
Every time.
Dude,
Every
and
lap.
see, that's the thing. The further into the water you went, the smoother it was. But it was just kind of a mind
And about
fuck.
the inside was probably 6-8 inches deep of water.
Yeah.
And you hydroplaned. You pretty much hydroplaned across the water.
And then it had this one switchback section in the woods that was just like, okay, so let's reference bar to bar again. All right, so you jump into the rollers, right roller, right again, long straightaway, then that big bowl that Bruce dubbed my corner because I love that corner so much. So that has the big bowl. Mm-hmm. All right, imagine that a little bit tighter in trees, back and forth,
probably
12 times, something like that.
Easy 12 times,
Just
and maybe
whop,
like 15 foot in between each one.
Whop. I mean, dude, you're just top a corner,
And
left,
they were
right.
probably, by the end of the day, they were probably, 12 foot tall?
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
Just huge
The
sand
man
balls.
of man's
Yeah.
track.
Dude, it was a really, really cool place. And I told the Santa Claus guy that was out here earlier.
Don?
Yeah, Don. Okay, so they used to do this thing called the Santa Claus race there, and the first weekend of December every year.
It's cold.
I
Just
know
cold
what
as
you're
hell.
talking about now. I've never been there, but I know what you're talking
Cold
about.
as hell every
It's
time.
all starting to click for me now.
Yeah. Okay, so they did the Santa Claus race where during intermission, everybody would suit up in a Santa Claus suit and they had a 3-lap dash for cash type deal. I don't even know if it paid money or not, but
I think it was just giveaways,
Yeah.
quite honest.
okay, but there was a prize for best Santa costume and then a prize for the winner of the race. And there were a couple guys that would build a satchel
Taking notes, JP?
and
Oh, yeah.
yeah, build a satchel and stuff presents in the back of it, and boxes would be falling out of the back of the thing as they're making motos. But I have a couple. I'll take a photo of it and send it to you. I still have a plaque in my garage at my dad's house that's about 6 by 8, has a little golden Santa Claus protruding out of it with his fist up and his left arm holding a satchel of presents, and then there's this tiny little red thing engraved: Silver City MX, Sterling, Kansas, Santa Claus race. And it's I don't know, but that is just one of those races that, like, if I could open up a track again for one time and one time only, think of
be that track.
every track in America. Screw them. Silver City MX in Sterling, Kansas, population 14 people. Dude, I mean, it would be
On the hot, including dogs.
Yeah.
Including dogs.
one of the coolest places to run.
Dude, it would give Southwick a run for its money, to be quite honest.
No, it's that
So what
normal.
is it now? What's the current
It's a
status
sand
of it?
pit. Do you remember?
Are they pulling sand out of there still? or
I'm
do you-
assuming so.
Because at the time it was closed. They stopped
Yeah.
pulling sand out.
So, do you remember John and Jeff Hedden,
Yes.
Nick Metcalf?
Yes.
Do you remember the two rollers? They turned into a double.
I did.
So you went off
no,
the
but-
start,
okay,
and
yeah.
you always had that really weird step up.
Yeah.
After
I
that,
remember
there
this.
was two like inside rollers that switched back, and I will never forget those guys made it into a double. It was ginormous.
Yeah.
And I was riding the novice class, and I always wanted to do it, but I was like, nope, My dad was like, no, you're not doing that. Shut me down.
I bet that if that track was the exact same today, you and I would jump that first lap.
Oh, I guarantee you. I guarantee you. It was probably no bigger than 80 foot, but back in the day, it looked like it was about 2,000 foot, and it looked like they were gods hitting it.
What's the last time you heard from John or Jeff Hedden?
Actually, I saw John this year at Bar to Bar. Or no, sorry, Jeff.
Yeah.
Jeff showed up to Bar to Bar the first race we had this year. He'd come out, not riding a bike, just come out to say hi to everybody. He was out there.
Cool.
So last I heard of John, he's out in Vegas, I believe. I think he's out there. Nick's cutting trees with Jason Knuckles. You remember Jason Knuckles back in the day?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're cutting trees together. Actually, I think they were up in your area last week.
Huh. Interesting. Where did Nick grow up? Independence?
I want to say it was Independence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of old Kansas history going around in this room right now.
Oh, yeah. Make you feel
dude,
real
this
old.
is out of my wheelhouse. Way, way out of my wheelhouse. Dude, we drove through Kansas to go to Oklahoma. That's what we did.
No, that was the truth. I left Kansas to race.
Okay.
Right, all the time.
Excluding Hillsboro.
Ooh, the rockiest track in the world.
Yeah. And with the Pro Hill.
The Rocky Pro Hill.
What was your least favorite place to race in Kansas growing up?
Be quiet on it. It was Hillsboro, man.
Yeah.
That was like,
I know,
Oh
that's-
man.
Was-
Honestly, after that, the rest of them I did enjoy the rest of them.
Was Thunder Valley, Thunder Ridge, Thunder...
Thunder Hill.
No, Thunder Hill was in Missouri.
So it's Thunder Valley.
No, Thunder Hill Thunder Hill is right. Holler Hill was in Missouri.
There you go.
Thunder
Yeah.
Hill was in... Where was that, up by Leavenworth or something?
Mayetta, which is
Mayetta.
north of Topeka. Did you ever
Okay.
race there?
I'll be quite honest. No, back in my day, it was like you went south, man. Like
Well, this is Jason Magnet's track. He never had a core
I
race.
heard of it, yeah.
Dude, A-class, 300% every weekend, regardless of how many guys showed up. I raced there one time. There were 5 guys in the A-class, and I walked out of there with $1,200.
bro, you remember where you always used to wear that EVS neck brace that looked like a donut?
Dude, yes!
I don't even know how he bit
Did we
his
talk
neck.
about this the other
just
day?
talked about
we
that.
just talked about it.
Dude,
Oh,
if I remember one thing of Jeff Crusher, it was that EVS donut neck brace
neck
and his
donut.
bottle cap black glasses inside his goggles.
MSR gear.
your
full
Arnett
MSR.
goggles.
What? MSR gear.
Oh, yeah.
VMAR helmets. Oxstar boots.
Yes.
EVS neck roll. Dude, I was so ugly on
Dude, it
on
was so
video.
It
bad.
was rough,
and
bro.
I can still picture, like, it was like a flyer your mom made or something for Valley, and like you're hitting this turn, lay out, everything is good except for your whole body is leaned with it because you can't move your head.
Yeah.
your,
Dude, it
your
was
whole
like having-
body is all in, like, move your whole waist and body would move together. And I remember like talking to you on the line, and to turn, it would be like you were in a neck donut, and you had to
like
turn
a
at
neck
the
brace.
hips,
Twisted the race.
twisted the
At the
hips
waist.
to look around. I don't know anyone else that wore one
I'm
other
pretty
than
sure
Davey
you went to
Millsap.
nationals at Millville like that too.
I don't doubt
I was
it.
like,
No,
bro.
I quit. Okay, so it was weird because I took off the chest protector and the neck roll on KTMs whenever I started riding the A class. And then my dad and I were having a conversation one time, and he's in the garage. We were loading up. He's like, "Hey, you forgot your chest protector." I was like, "I'm over it." He's like, "Okay, cool. I'm just gonna get this 2x4 out and whack you in the chest with it."
That's also accurate.
Yeah.
Hey, hold on.
Yeah.
Do you know what the neck donut we're talking
I
about
bet
is?
Steven has
I
no
bet he doesn't
clue
even
I have no idea
what
what
the
you guys are
EVS
talking
neck donut was.
Can I pull up my
Here's on
phone?
Yeah, here, pull it up on your phone.
Oh, dude.
RC1.
It's
Pull up
like
the EVS
taking,
RC1.
though, like if you break your tailbone butt donut you got to sit on, you might as well wrap that around your neck.
Yeah, that's
That's
exactly
about
what
as cool.
RC1, race collar 1.
Yeah, it was like
I have
the
no idea what you're talking
RC1
about.
Dude.
race color.
foam horseshoe.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude, they're
With
not
the
even showing me.
On
Yeah, 'cause
images,
they're
can you do
embarrassed
it
to
on
buy it.
images?
It's a foam neck brace with
There
a
it is.
Velcro strap
it's like
across
what you
your
would
neck.
get when you go go-kart riding.
Yeah, it was.
That's so ugly.
Oh, it's terrible.
Okay, so wait, what was the proper way to wear it? Was the
Velcro in the back.
and
Velcro in the back. And the
Okay.
reason for
What?
that, yeah, dude.
I always thought the Velcro was supposed to be in the front,
dude,
bro.
No. You run the Velcro on the back because it's like 90% of paralyzation comes from you hitting your chin against your sternum and you overextending your neck and stretching out your.
So this whole decade,
Yeah,
I
neck
thought
brace.
Crutcher was really wearing his neck brace backwards.
No.
I was like, for one, he's wearing that, and B, he's wearing it backwards.
Did anyone else wear one?
No.
So even during this thing's time, you were the only one.
This was before like the
This is the
Lead.
original
local.
version of the Lead.
The
It
OG.
started out like this is back when guys. What the
No,
next thing they went
okay,
to was
this
like
was-
pool.
This
pool
was Davey
things.
Millsap's foam circle thing zip tied to his helmet.
Yeah, that's like a pool noodle.
Yeah,
zip
pool
tied to his
noodle.
helmet.
And then do you remember the lockjaw device that the guy in Minnesota sold?
It buttoned onto your helmet.
Did you ever see those, John-Paul?
Yes, I know exactly. I thought that was the coolest thing ever, and I never got one. But I was like, I'm glad I
I
didn't
just
get
think
one.
about all
idea.
the dirt it would catch in it.
So,
but
Steven, here's what they did. All right, so you had, it was like a 3-button system. There was like a little snap button in the front of your mouthpiece, one on each side of your jaw, and then it was like this Tyvek thing that went underneath your chin to keep from like handlebars and shit going up. It really didn't make any sense.
It just held dirt.
It looked good on paper. That's one of those things that looked good on paper. But in real world application, there's a reason it didn't take off because it really did more harm than good.
Yeah.
But there was a guy out of Minnesota that was selling the shit out of those things.
Not only did you have to unbuckle your helmet, you had to snap.
it,
Yeah, snap your faceplate thing or whatever you want to call it. It was terrible.
The neck donut. This you know what a Liette neck brace is and all that. So this is prior to all that. This is what
This is like taking a pool noodle and wrapping it around your neck with Velcro at the end of it. It's like a 4-foot strap that wrapped around to the other side.
It reminds me like when you're gonna get on an airplane and you've got your little
Oh,
neck pillow.
dude. Okay. Prime example. That's exactly what it looked like with a Velcro strap in the front
when
of
you
it.
showed me the picture. That's what it
put
looks
that
like.
on under your helmet and then go bust a 30-minute moto.
Yeah.
But bro, you didn't lean with your head. You leaned with your whole body.
on,
to the corner.
dude, on an 06 RMZ 450
Yes.
where the rear
I
fender
can
came up
picture.
and pointed back down, dude. And I thought it was so my dad and I had the whole chest protector talk. And then after that, whenever I got the allotment from MSR, I bought an MSR actual like chest pro, like the one that you'd wear on the outside of your jersey. And I looked like such a fucking goon because of that neck donut and the VMAR helmet was weird.
Dude, I'll be quite honest,
looked
dude.
so
Crutcher
Euro.
pissed me off. Because I'm
What
like,
does he
dude,
still does?
look
What
at
do you
this
mean
dude's
did?
style, and he's ripping.
And he still went that
it
fast.
just still went
It's
fast,
because
but
he couldn't
just
look
looked
behind
like,
him to know what was coming.
but just had the goofiest setup.
Oh,
but
yeah.
would rip.
But dude, I'll tell you what, he was so fucking stoked on this deal he had with MSR and Oxstar and these fucking VMAR helmets. He had like 3 extra jerseys for all the pants he had, and he wanted to show every time in the trailer he was taking them off the hanger. And I got to change jerseys for the next moto.
You know, I still wear 6 sets of gear on race day.
Oh, I know he does.
I do too.
Dude,
I do
every
too.
time he comes to the races, it's a different set of gear.
Can you imagine wearing 6 sets of gear on race day?
You know, I was at bar to bar. You rode at bar to bar, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were watching. I guess I didn't notice that.
Yeah, no. Okay, so not this last time. I only wear 3 sets, but the time before
Only
that,
3.
only 3.
Yeah.
The time
Discuss
before that,
with me at the starting gate.
I wore 6 sets of gear in on race day.
Do you think you have
If
a
I
problem?
brought 6
No,
sets of gear
no.
from old lady to wash in the house, she'd punch me right in the mouth.
There's no difference between washing 1 set of gear and 6 sets of gear.
No, I agree.
You know, I mean, it all goes in one load. And the reason that I do that is because, okay, first practice, you're going to get muddy as shit. Okay, then second practice, and now these are on days where if I ride 3 classes, plus 25, 250A, 450A. My theory is, number 1, I got to look good because I'm not that fast anymore.
Lies.
Number 2 is that I hate wearing sweaty gear. Okay, so I want to get that shit off of me, dry off. I'm an old man now, dude.
The only thing I can do now is look good. I don't go very fast.
Dude, that's 90% of it.
But dude, the worst is like you have all these sets of gear, you change your gear, and you put on fucking dirty boots.
I wash them. I hand wash them. I do what I can. I don't take a power washer to the
Right, I know.
motocrossers.
I'm just talking in general.
I see what you're saying.
I mean, I'll point my finger at you when I'm ready to point my finger at you. But right now, I'm just talking in
Since
general.
we're pointing fingers and talking about the olden days, John-Paul, do you know that you directly cost me about $800 one time? I've never brought this up to you.
Ooh, I feel like this might be a sensitive subject you guys are talking about.
Apparently,
Are you trying to fight me right now?
Yeah. You know that, okay, Guthrie Arena Cross on amateur day in 2004. I went to, at the time, I was racing for American Suzuki and I was getting double contingency. And I rode 250A and Schoolboy. And
I was riding A then.
okay, but you were flagging that year because you were hurt. Do you remember what I'm talking about? The year
God,
that you
he is
flagged.
just, bro, like bringing up history. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't remember.
So you were flagging, and you did Friday night,
remembers.
Saturday. Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember.
he
Oh
sure
no,
does,
I
yeah.
remember this because my dad about got in a fist fight with the AMA rep. Oh, because you said something to the AMA guy because I went out in schoolboy practice and jumped everything first lap and was fucking ripping, dude. And the whole reason we went to that race is because it paid contingency. Okay, it was $300 to win. And I got double, or no, $200 to win, and I got double contingency. So each class was $400 worth of contingency, and I was a fucking shoe in for schoolboy. And then 250A would have been a pretty easy deal.
I'm not gonna lie, dude. Totally remember this. You had a neck brace on, a donut.
So you said the AMA rep said, man, that Crutcher kid's pretty quick. And you said, well, he should be. He rides the pro class. And then they disqualified me because of whatever it was that you said to him. So it may not have been 250A. It was another, like open class, big bike
you were
open or
riding
something.
like one of the open classes.
Schoolboy and big bike open, which was an open, open all skill levels class. Dude, my dad fucking hated you for like a year over that. And that influenced me to be pissed off at you. And then I was like,
No wonder he didn't talk to me for many, many years. Sensitive over
Fucking Guthrie, goddamn lazy
Guthrie.
arena.
but yeah, thinking about the olden days, that's what I think about.
Oh
that.
man, the
Yeah.
olden days.
MSR gear. I was wearing MSR.
EVS neck donut.
Neck donut.
That's all I gotta say.
Dude, I didn't have some dumbass neck donut, but I did ride in a Dale Earnhardt Jr. T-shirt. That was my jersey.
Budweiser.
Oh yeah, because he was number 8 and I was number 8.
Well,
and
it corresponds. It works.
This shirt had a big ass number 8 on the back of it. Like with a Dale Earnhardt car behind it or something. Then a little insignia on the front. That was my jersey for like a whole summer on 80s. Excuse me.
Yeah. All right, John-Paul, let me ask you this. We got our 2018 Most Improved Big Bike Rider here. What do you think of this? What do you think of Vol?
Dude, honestly, when I was approached by the people, because this was voted on by all the people at the track, and I was pretty honored. I knew, especially the last race at Bar to Bar, I watched him. That dude, I think, ripped every hole shot that day. I'm pretty sure, or if not, 3 of the 4, probably.
I think 3 of the 4.
And they weren't by that guy got it by a tire. No, it was like, okay,
Big.
where the hell is everybody else at in the first turn? Because he was gone. And I remember last year, the first of this year, that dude went from
I could not get out of the gate.
Yeah, oh man, I hope Steven makes the full lap. Bro, if he makes the full lap, I'm pretty proud of him. To ripping hole shots, and so it was pretty cool. I was pretty pumped, and his dad, the hard ass he is, the starting gate guy, Chris Kirk, and the CEO Steven, they're complete polar opposites of each other, and so it was pretty cool to see that and just watch him progress this year. He's been to quite a few races, and it was really cool. It was an honor to see that and do that award.
So what's the secret?
Yeah, tell me because I need.
Before we move on, can I say so I hole shotted both 250 beginner motos.
And who was screaming for you when you come around the turn? Me.
Yeah. Okay. I hole shotted both of those, and then I didn't hole shot the first 450 beginner moto, but the second one. Okay, the second round of motos, I hole shotted the 250 beginner. And so I go back to my girlfriend and I'm like, hey, you got that on video, right? And she's like, oh, this is the one time I didn't video. And I was like, what? I felt so good because I had a perfect start. And that was when my suspension was just redone. So we just moved my whole shot device and everything. And I didn't know how it was going to go. So I felt really good. So I was like, okay, you have to videotape this next one. And so then I felt like I was under pressure. And that was in the 450 class, and I'm on a 250. So I was like, well, they got a little more bike than I do, but I was like, I think I can do it. And that's when I had that really good one where I launched out of there. And so she did get on video, and so I was extremely happy about that. But what I was originally going to say and why I stopped you was because after that, when we were walking back to watch the rest of the races, we came through the tunnel, and you were super hype, and you were screaming my name and stuff, like with the whole shot and everything in the tunnel in the golf cart. That was like the best feeling ever. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like that was one of those wholesome moments where like it just makes you feel good inside, and like you made me feel awesome that day, JP. I'm not gonna lie.
Dude, that's awesome because JP also did that same thing for me at Bar to Bar earlier this year. I pulled the whole shot in like 450A or something and come around the first turn, and he's standing there, both arms in the air, fist up.
JP is
and so I give him the one-handed one finger out front of everybody at the qualifier, whatever race it was.
JP,
Yeah, for sure the qualifier.
Dude, it was awesome.
maybe the best hype man of all time.
Yeah, I go with that.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I run around a lot doing the series stuff, but I pay attention a lot. And you know, when my boys are out on the track, you better believe I'm paying attention somewhere. And you know,
It feels good. Don't stop doing that.
Yeah, you know, when my guys are there, you better believe I'm cheering them on. And Lap King guy Vince, he was at the last race, ripped the big old hole shot in 450A. On a crutcher.
Jeff saw it, I'm sure.
On Jeff, Jeff was watching from behind.
Yeah, I was.
So not only was I cheering him on from the second turn, I had a cheeseburger in my mouth screaming for him because that's what an over 30 rider, fat kid, does. So, yeah.
By the way, how's your knee from that race?
We're
were
doing
hobbling
good.
around.
Dude, I tore it up pretty bad.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I tore it up, but we're living through it, and we'll get there. I raced the next race. So. All right. Well, hey, I'm bouncing out. I'm going to go talk to the rest of my people.
Okay.
Thanks for letting me join in. I appreciate it, guys.
Thanks for coming.
Jon-Paul was summoned away from us. That's fine. I'm glad he came in. That was cool. Yeah, we're recording again.
Oh, yeah, we're back.
Yeah.
That was good. And, dude, I don't even know where your story was. We totally lost
Well,
that.
we're talking about whole shots
that's fine.
now. Or are we gonna go back to
I don't know what we're going to go back to. It
Okay,
doesn't really
so
matter.
as far as whole shots, you're saying like what's my deal?
What I was asking, okay, so most improved rider of the year, last race last year, you barely could get out of the gate to go.
Yeah, I think I stalled at both motos.
What helped you become? What was the secret to becoming the most improved rider this year? What'd you do different?
Ooh, I think a lot of it was. Are we talking about starts or just in general?
Just in general, like you're
Okay.
most improved rider in the series, man. That's out of anybody that signed up and rode.
That's true.
the
Okay.
series.
I think a lot of it is I dissect things, and even though like I know I screw up, I look back and I say, hey, what did I screw up? And I'm one of those people that like I don't worry about getting better while I'm at the track.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when I'm at the track and I'm riding, I go there to practice and get better. But when I'm at home, I'm thinking about, hey, what did I do last week? You know, why did that not work? And I'm brainstorming in my head all week before the race that's coming up ahead. You know, and I think that's a lot of it. You know, when you're in your mind and you're improving yourself mentally. And dissecting every part of the track, you know, or things that I'm struggling on or not doing so well, or things that I am doing well. And I'm like, okay, this was great. You know, like I need to work on doing this more. And I think I improve just as much when I'm not at the track as I do when I'm at the track.
When I'm to kind of follow what you're saying, whenever I have my weekends are dictated by my weeks of. You know, some guys, like for instance, some guys will have a bad weekend and that will dictate their next weekend. Like they get in a slump or, you know, just a bad, you know, mental state of, I'm, you know, having a hard time. For me, it's where the more I think about my own racing and my own riding, the more excited I get to ride and race on the weekends. Mm-hmm. And then I have like weeks where And it's not even for any reason, but if I'm not thinking about racing, obviously I spend every waking moment thinking about dirt bikes, but not necessarily racing. If I don't think about racing during the week, I'm probably not going to race very well.
I would agree with that. I've run into that too. If you're too busy or whatever, doing whatever, oh man, I got a race this weekend, but I haven't even thought about it. Or where is the race? You're asking yourself where the race is that weekend.
A couple times this year, I was prepping up my bike on 4 o'clock on Saturday evening.
To go racing.
To go racing the next day. And I'm just like, why did I not do this already? Why is this now getting done? And I've realized that some of it is my heart just ain't in it, because of my work schedule and shit like that, where I'm just like, yeah, I want to go ride. I just don't know if I want to go race. And it's because I've been doing it for 25 years.
Neck donut and all.
Those are forgettable times.
We're not going to let this neck donut thing go.
Clearly not. No, I'm the one doing the ribbing, so I'm going to sit here and take it.
Going to take it.
Somebody has to sometime.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of it is just as much mental as it is, physical and muscle memory and all that. I think a lot of it is in your head,
and you're having fun.
Yeah, well, for sure. That I think that helps a lot too.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you do for a living?
I am at Wichita State going to college right now, and I worked at a car dealership for 2 years, and then I had to move, and so I'm taking this first semester off work. So I actually don't have a job right now.
Nice.
How old are you?
21.
21. All right. So how are you buying beers at the bar if you're unemployed?
I'm not a beer person.
Hey, that makes 3 of us here.
Beers.
Yeah, Scott and I both don't drink. Never have.
Yeah.
Never have.
Yeah, it's not my thing. I mean,
are you what are you going to school for?
Engineering technology.
And what will you do with that? Besides have a shit ton of debt.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I really love. Oh, okay. Let me backtrack on your question here a little bit. I went to community college, having no idea what I wanted to do at all.
And so
Yeah,
Scott did the same thing.
Yeah. And so I had no clue. And then there was like a semester where I needed like 2 or 3 credit hours. And they're like, well, you got to take one of these classes, and they gave me a list. And this is like coming after the summer where I just rebuilt the engine on my El Camino.
Yeah.
And so one of the classes was AC/DC circuits. And I was like, well, I understand the mechanical aspect of my car, and I can't fix everything on it, but I'm fairly competent in understanding what's going on. If something's wrong, I might not tell you what's exactly wrong, but I can tell you if it's fuel related. I can tell you if it's electrical related or anything like that. But I knew nothing about electrical itself. And I figured, if I'm going to be restoring this car, because I love this car. Like it's one of my, lifelong goals is to restore it completely and everything after I get out of college. I knew nothing about electricity. And I was like, if I'm going to be doing that and I want to do as much as I can by myself, I need to know electrical. And so they had an AC/DC circuits class, and I ended up taking that, and I ended up loving this class. Like, I loved everything about it. Like, I think it was just, I love taking things and trying to improve them or change them to do different things than what they're intended to try to make it do something else or improve on what it already does and just make it do that particular thing better. And so, I got with the instructor of the class, and I was like, what can I do along the lines of this class? And he said, well, we offer a automation program right here at this community college. And I ended up joining that. Mind you, this is only a 2-year program. And so at the time I was like, I'll get my 2-year degree and then I'll go to work and everything. And so I get my 2-year degree, and then I was like, I was kind of in my own head, when you get a job, and I hated the thought of me working somewhere and me being able to do whatever the employer asked, or anything like that, being competent on fixing something or building something or designing something for someone, but being unable to climb the ladder because of a piece of paper. I hated that. I hated that thought. You know, if they said, "Hey, you don't have this 4-year degree," you know, you're completely qualified, but you can't do it because you don't have this.
Never mind your actual competency towards the matter at hand.
box you have to check.
I hated that thought. You know, I just hated it. So I was like, you know, I need to get my 4-year degree. And now it kind of put me in an odd situation because now I have a 2-year degree that isn't designed to be a 4-year program. And that's when I did some research and everything. And that's how I settled on Wichita State and their engineering technology. They've got several different pieces of engineering technology or different types of engineering technology, and I'm specifically in the mechatronics one. And so I'm hoping to continue with that and continue in automation specifically.
What is mechatronics?
It's similar to automation.
Wait, you don't know this? Peasant.
Okay, Jay.
It's kind of the combination of mechanical and electrical together. The engineering. I mean, it's.
Okay, just to clarify. Did you say megatronics or mechatronics?
Mechatronics.
Yeah.
Oh, I heard it wrong.
Oh, see, yeah.
I work on Megatron, the Transformer.
well, that's why I was like, what are you talking about?
Megatronics, I knew exactly what you were talking
create
about.
robots.
But Scott's an idiot, and he didn't understand that you said mechatronics.
Yeah. Mechatronics.
And that's what I heard. And so,
because Jeff has a lot of experience in the
in
electronics
mechatronics,
department
dude,
of
I
Radio
fucking
Shack.
wrote the book. His 4-year degree that he's got. Guess who they came to for accreditation? How do you say that?
Accreditation. Accreditation.
Accreditation.
Kinda.
Are you sure
You're
that's
almost
right?
there. I'm pretty sure. Accredited, like it's an accredited university and accredited.
Id. And then what did I say? Accreditation?
Accreditation isn't like.
Dude, I'm pretty sure that's how you say it. Give me your phone.
Feel like we're talking about sea urchins and shit now. Dude,
You don't have Siri?
no, I don't know.
Do you have your phone with you?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, this is getting out of hand. I'm
This is
still
important.
trying to
Do
figure
you
out what the
wanna
hell
say
you're
it
going to
to
school
her?
for.
Okay, hold on. How do you?
Just push and hold for Siri. What is accreditation?
Accreditation.
Check it out.
It's spelled accreditation.
Accreditation. Okay. Hey,
Fuck
you know what?
you,
see
Jeff.
that thing you're pointing at? You can sit on it and spin for all that I
You
care.
threatened me with a good time.
I will.
So with this degree, you're talking automation, you're talking conveyors, robotics,
Correct.
shit like that, right?
Correct.
Okay. I like that you are pursuing higher education and that you're going to change the world with mechatronics. But please just do not go into the field of cars and transportation because you're going to replace my job, sir. Please do not make cars automatic. Or trucks.
Self-driving?
Yeah,
You don't want any self-driving?
Oh, I actually had to just do a report on the whole Tesla self-driving car thing.
Yeah.
And it was a mess.
Well-
They're not nearly as
Not
good.
going to happen.
Yes, it will.
I mean, not in a hurry. Not anytime soon. Is what you're saying. It's a mess.
It's a mess.
It is a mess, but I think,
Also, here's the problem.
yeah.
Tesla is claiming this as an automatic car.
Which it isn't.
It's semi-autonomous.
Yeah.
So it drives itself, but it still needs you.
Yep.
It has to have your hands on the steering wheel, and like
That's a safety device, though. The old cars, the original model, what are they? Model X or whatever.
Model
it
X,
is.
I think.
Yeah. You didn't have to have your hands on the steering wheel, and people would just camp out behind the wheel.
You threatened me with a good
My
time.
specific report was the 2 fatalities that happened related to that.
Yeah.
And I had to analyze, why the fatalities happened and everything like that.
Why the systems failed.
Yeah.
I have a book that I'm reading right now titled Why Systems Fail.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
Are you a big book person?
Hit and miss.
I know that if you plan to fail, or if you fail to plan, then you're planning to fail.
Yeah. Did you read that off the high school gym poster?
I don't know where I read it. Yeah, I think it was
internet.
I think it was right next to the safety mat that I walked in onward.
Please work safely.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Well, that's really cool. That explains why. You're very well spoken and obviously extremely intelligent, and happen to be a motocross racer, which are two things that do not go hand in hand.
That does not happen
Yeah, I'm
often.
sure you've noticed around the pits, most people are not talking about, as Scott likes to call, Megatronics.
Fuck, that's just what I heard him say. Okay, these dumb big ass ears. That's the words I heard. All right. I'm half deaf as it is from.
I think it's because your giant lip got in the way of you
More than
hearing.
likely, this big dumb head of mine.
Yeah, so
I'm
that's
just a
cool.
big
That's
dumb
cool that
idiot.
you're going to school for that, and that you're passionate about it instead of just being a welder. Not that there's anything wrong with welding, but that's pretty typical of like most
Like a
motocross.
Default.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Most guys are just like, well, I'm a welder at S&S Fabrication.
I'm gonna go drive a truck.
That's what I do.
Again, no
Yeah.
offense to those people, but it's like it almost feels like a default.
I know. But
I'm just glad you found something that's taking you on further to the next level, or whatever you want to call it. Take it that, and you're passionate about doing it, not just doing it to do it.
Yeah.
That's cool.
yeah, doing it out of desire instead of necessity.
Definitely.
Yeah,
And I think a lot of people going to college saying, I don't want to go to college, but I want, the degree and everything. And I think, again, that's kind of a mentality thing. Like, I enjoy going to college because, like, I enjoy what I'm doing. And so it makes classes better, which means, I don't know. I don't have to work as hard when I feel like I'm not working, if that makes sense.
What is campus like at WSU? Or let me ask you this: what specific kind of school is Wichita State?
It's mostly known for its engineering. It's a
Okay.
pretty engineering-focused school.
So the typical person that goes there, what type of person are they? I know that's a really
Odd question.
Well,
And it's a college campus, so it's pretty diverse. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't really pin a
so it's just a diverse college. Okay.
I feel like most colleges are like that, though. I mean, you can't.
Yeah, mine was.
The reason that I'm obviously I've been paying a lot of attention to academia as a whole in the last 2 years because of the amount. Now the thing is I really like Steven Crowder, and I really like
Who's that?
the guy that goes to college campuses and puts that sign out that says like rape culture is a myth, prove me wrong.
Oh, gotcha.
You know what I'm talking about?
I know the meme.
Okay, the meme. Yeah, so that's a real guy that actually he has a podcast
What's his
called
name? Steven what?
Steven Crowder.
Okay.
And he's got a show called Louder with Crowder. And I'll say it right now. He's kind of an asshole. And he is a provocateur. But he's extremely entertaining. The man is
Some
an
people,
entertainer.
but I think those people are necessary, though.
Absolutely. And see, that's part of the puzzle. Now, it's good to hear you say that because a lot of people, maybe not necessarily on your college campus, but you go to a university campus or somewhere like that, and they just shut down anything other than the progressive left agenda, which, I mean, I don't really like saying the word agenda, but I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, I don't know what else you call it.
So are there people marching around your campus like protesting Trump or what's that? Ben Shapiro, et cetera. Are those things that happen on your campus?
I don't want to say there's not.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of my perception or anyone that goes to the campus's perception themselves is who you associate with, Like, I don't go and talk to every person. And so, like, because my mindset isn't, far left, far right or anything like that, like, I try to keep a balance on my opinions and everything like that. I try to associate with people that are kind of like that.
So hold on, let me get this right. You use logic and reason, is what you're telling me?
Yeah, and not a lot of people do that now.
No, they sure don't. It's getting harder to find. That's for sure.
Well, I mean, it's. A broad strokes way to say it is that these are divisive times where people are basing a lot of their ideology on emotion instead of actual factual evidence because it is. I mean, that's a lazy way to do it, and it's far more attractive than actually having to critically think about whatever it is that you're trying to think about.
And there's so much bullshit out there now that it's harder and harder to find the actual facts and information
And also,
you know what I mean? So people just go with their
and
emotions.
see, the thing is let's say you're far right and I'm far left.
I would agree. Hold on.
No, go ahead.
I would agree and disagree with that slightly. I think the research is there if you want to find it. You know, I think a lot of people want an opinion and they want their opinion to be that, and they don't want anything to change their mind, and so they don't do the research. And then they say, "Oh, I did the research," but how much effort did they really put in it? And I think a lot of it, you know,
and that's
comes
what
back
I'm
to
saying
that.
is a lot of it's all bullshit that's out there right in the front. Whether it's even like as stupid as it sounds, fake news.
Yeah.
Like there is a fuckload of fake news. It's just not real credible websites. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And the shit spreads like wildfire. As you see it on your news feed, everybody's uncle shares it 3 times a day of some, you know, the Northwestern Post or something that's not really even a real website.
And typically what they're doing is they're sharing the headline, not the actual article.
Yes, they probably didn't even read the article.
Yeah.
Is exactly what you to relate back to what you're saying.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I'm getting at. And I'm not saying this Trump fake news bullshit. I'm not tooting that one. I'm just saying in general, there's all this, there's all the mud to clear through, whether you're left or right or whatever side you're on. Like everybody's full of shit on both sides. And so you have to tread the water on each side and develop your own opinion to be where you want to be.
The hard part is that our number one method of communication, Facebook, likes to cater to whatever it is that you are already, you know, quote unquote, subscribed to. So what I was going to say is if you're left and I'm right or whatever your bullshit is, you're going to see. Whatever my bullshit is, I'm going to see. And then I'm not going to critically think, because what Facebook and Twitter, not quite so much, but Instagram, what they do is they cater to you to ensure that your experience on their website is a pleasant one and makes you want to keep coming back and spending more time. Because Facebook, just like the TV used to be, measures how much time you spend on it. The same way that the Nielsen ratings worked with TVs. The more TVs that are tuned into a TV, the higher that CBS can charge for 5 o'clock news ad space. Okay, so Facebook does the same exact thing, where whenever you're on Facebook, at 5 o'clock in the afternoon or whatever peak Facebook time is, whatever ads are rolling through cost more. Those go to the advertisers that spend more money. Now, the thing is, let's say that you like Daily News Journal or something, and then you like Post USA. Okay, whatever it is that is most divisive that day, is most salacious, has the most inane headline, is what's going to pop up first in your news feed. You ever notice how many like things get posted into your news feed that you've never liked, that you have no interest in seeing, but it's just like John F. Simmons likes such and such page, and then it just randomly appears in your feed.
Do you believe in the... Okay, for example, we were in the cafeteria, me and my roommate, we were eating lunch or dinner, and we were talking about some a band, I think is what we were talking about, and then we get back to the room and I turn on my computer and the Cortana thing says like, ask me about this band or something like that. Do you believe in the whole like everything's recording you kind of thing?
Dude, I don't know, because...
Or does it just feel like it's coincidence and that you're just noticing it because you talked about it?
Okay. To further make that point, there are times whenever I'm listening to a podcast and let's say they're talking about a wild pygmy bird or something like that, okay? And they're talking about the way that it looks. I'm like, hey, I want to know how this looks. And then I'll type in like PIG, and then it finishes like to whatever it is that I'm listening to. So then I'm thinking, okay, does my phone fucking know that whenever I get an hour and 13 minutes deep into this Joe Rogan podcast that I'm going to Google search and it automatically knows, like you type in PI, boom, boom, wild pygmy bird on tree or something like that.
Yeah.
Dude, my phone does that, and so does my computer all the time. So it's one of two things. Either it has developed a pattern I think that so many apps are interspersed and intertwined with each other that they're constantly tracking each other's information. So then whenever you go to Google and you start typing into Google, it already knows what your activity in podcasts is.
Well, and say 1 million people listen to that podcast,
Exactly.
and say 500,000 of them Google this pygmy bird
Yeah.
at the 1 hour 17-minute point.
Yeah.
Is it more likely to show up on yours?
See, I don't think it's recording or listening to you. At least that's because I don't think there's enough I don't think there's a point to that. But I mean, there's obviously not a point to a lot of shit. I think it's exactly what you're saying. Apps are intertwined on the back end, the way the systems and everything work, the way the numbers crunch together, and it also has to do with your GPS. And we talked about this before with Mike and the model trains and all that shit, and on another podcast. And it has to do with my phone being by your phone or whatever. We were together in the Best Western or whatever in Park City, and now, you know what I mean?
Hold that thing close to your mouth.
It's gonna. Sorry, I'm pulling it away probably as I'm talking. Whoops. Yeah. But I think it has to do with just everything. Like your phone might have something that I've looked. You know what I mean? Now will pop up as an ad on yours because our phones are the GPS
near each other. Yeah.
So close to each other.
Yeah, that's a theory that phones will. All right, let's say that Scott and I go.
Is GPS that accurate though?
Yes, it is.
That like 100%. It tells that we're like in the same room.
Yes. Oh, well, you ever pulled up Google Map, and as that blue area gets smaller and smaller and smaller, and then it points in the direction you're holding your phone. If you go like this, the little blue dot turns.
You're right.
So yeah, no. What it dictates is that your phone is sitting here next to my phone. Okay,
and so we probably have something in common.
Or what it could do is it knows that Scott and I just left the Bottleneck in Lawrence, okay, together, and we watched a band, okay, and then him and I come down here, and then your phone is within exact proximity of each other. Now, let's say you're like, hey, how was the such and such concert? And then we talk about it, and then you open your phone, and then Spotify suggests to you to listen to whatever it is that we were talking about. So there's a good chance, that kind of.
I didn't think about that. GPS being associated with that as well, but that's definitely a valid point.
It could be simply off of other people's phones' data.
Search history, things like that.
Yeah,
but you guys do believe that as a whole, there is some of that going on?
Absolutely. I also believe that we are in a virtual reality simulation, and the life is not what we think it is.
That's going really big picture.
How much Joe Rogan have you watched?
Well, no, I mean, I felt that, dude, I felt that way for a very, very long time before. It was one of those things where I always felt like whatever it is that we are in is not what we think that it is. But then obviously listening to Rogan's podcast and then doing further research about what is more likely. Scott, have you ever thought about this?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, let me just run this by you.
Oh, it's getting deep right now.
Okay.
It happens.
And
on this podcast.
I'm glad that we get to talk about this because there's a lot of people that don't listen to other podcasts that do listen to this. And I want them to know, go listen to Joe Rogan. It will make a man out of you.
See, and I don't really listen to Joe Rogan. I maybe I haven't found the right episode to get me into it. You know what I mean?
Got into it maybe like a month and a half ago.
Yeah.
I didn't watch a single episode, and now I've watched like maybe two.
So do you watch them on YouTube or do you listen to them on podcasts?
About half and half.
Okay. I
just
strictly listen to it on podcasts.
I do about half and half.
So, okay, anyway, I'm going to run a couple things by you here, Scott.
Boom. Go.
All right. Do you believe that we will be able to create a virtual reality game through headsets, some type of immersive virtual reality technology, that we won't be able to distinguish the difference between that virtual reality and actual life as we know it?
Isn't there a movie? There's movies out like this. There's a movie like this or something. I think Bruce Willis is in it.
Oh,
and like
surrogates?
when you check something, yes, that's
them in. That's still them controlling something in the real world, not being
something.
But actually going into a world that's different. But you can't tell the difference.
Like you don't know if you should take your goggles off. Is what you mean?
Right?
Yes.
No, here, yes. You go to take the goggles off, and you're not sure if you actually took them off. So, like in Inception, whenever they wake up from a dream, but they're still in a dream. I'm talking about?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, same theory. It's like you take the goggles off and you don't know if you took them off. actually, because the whatever you've seen through the goggles, through the immersive technology, has you convinced that you're not totally sure. Do you think that'll ever happen?
I mean, maybe for some people, but to a a race as a whole, no.
Okay, now let me just illustrate a small difference. It's 1984, and Pong just came out on Atari. Okay, fast forward 20 years later, and we're playing Grand Theft Auto Miami Vice. Okay,
game.
Right. Now think about the difference that we just leapt from
20 years.
in 20 years. Okay. Now, let's say we have what's the most Red Dead Redemption 2 is the newest, biggest, latest thing that came out on video games. Okay. Today, Red Dead Redemption 2, 20 years from now. Okay. What's Red Dead Redemption going to be? If we are at Pong today on Atari. So think of it in that context. And then we're going to continue to advance technology and video games for another 20 years. What would the difference between Pong and Red Dead Redemption versus Red Dead Redemption, which is now the new Pong, further?
Right. Well, and that's what I'm saying is I think for some people, like somebody in that niche market, like somebody that is a gamer.
But I'm saying, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to mediate between. I think you're not getting what he's trying to say. I think he's trying to say, not that you're into that kind of thing, but if you were put into it,
if you were, that's what I'm saying. I think for somebody in that situation,
I'm not
but
talking.
why would it make a difference? Why are my senses so much different than yours that I could tell that I was in a game but you couldn't, or that I couldn't and you could? Can you see that much better than I can? Can you feel that much better than I can?
Just because he's a gamer and you're not.
Yeah.
You see where we're going with this?
I kind of see what you're saying, but
Okay.
I don't know. I guess I haven't thought of it. I'd have to think a little
You'd
bit
have
more
to think
on
about it.
but
Okay,
I
well,
don't
think
know.
about that. All right. Let's just go ahead and assume. Let's throw a larger number out. Instead of 20 years, 40 years. In 40 years from today, right now, we'll be 70 years old. And in that 40 years, we will have created a virtual reality that is indiscernible from the one that we are in today. Okay, let's just roll with that and say that we've done it. Okay, where you put the headset on and the full morph suit thing that has the touch and the feel and all that shit, which we're not far from. I don't know if you know this, but they installed one of those gigantic warehouses that have virtual reality in Kansas City, where you put the goggles and the suit on and you get the gun and you run through this giant warehouse, full fucking like 300,000 square foot operation. Did you know about this?
No, I don't know anything about it.
I had no idea.
All right, so
This
I
would be
just
badass. I'm down to go.
Oh, we're going for sure. We've already made it that far. Okay. Now imagine we can do that even more tuned up. You know, the same way that we came from bag phones to the iPhone X. Okay. Obviously, technology gets better over time.
Well, it's also exponential.
Exactly.
Because the more technology you have, the more technology you can increase.
It's
it takes technology to make technology.
Right. And the thing, also think of it how like people with a lot of money, their interest makes interest. And then that interest compounds and makes them more interest. Technology is the same. The more technology you have, the higher interest rate at which that technology accelerates. Okay. So it's going and going and going. And then you get to the point to where it's almost instantaneous, where technology advancement will be instantaneous and time becomes much shorter. So, with all that being said, I know I'm kind of losing you, but because the look on your face.
I'm just listening.
All right. Now, if, let's say we fast forward, it's 2020, it's 2070. We're there. No, 2040. We're there. We've made it that point. You take the goggles off. How is it that you then can say that the existence you live in is not actually already a virtual reality created by human beings? If we have the capability to create that virtual reality that we can't tell the difference from it, how do we know that we're not already in it?
Because in virtual reality, you're not going to walk out into traffic, get smoked by a truck, and die.
How do you know that?
Because I'm picturing virtual reality. You're sitting on your couch and you're picturing what you're doing.
Okay, right. No. Let me answer that concern. Okay. What happens whenever you die?
Nobody knows.
Exactly, because you don't know until you die. Okay, now let's say we're in a virtual reality that's indistinguishable from the actual reality. So what happens whenever your game ends? How do you know that this is not a game right now, that we're not living in a virtual reality? You see what I'm saying?
Right. I think
I know that's a hard concept to wrap your mind around because of your religious beliefs.
I don't really even. Yeah, I mean, I guess,
you
but
see what I'm saying? I mean, you have a tinge of them.
I mean, I'm religious, but
yeah.
I still think it's also a thing that why can't you associate with both?
No,
Someone had to have made the human. Okay,
yeah.
If you're religious,
and I'm
I'm
not
religious.
really that. I'm a very minute amount.
I believe in God.
Anything.
Yeah.
And I think it's perfectly viable to believe in both.
Technology and
Science and
Yeah,
and religion.
Something
we
else.
could be in a virtual reality.
yeah.
And let's say the people that made us are called the Tarians. Okay, all right, just a random
like that.
name.
Right, yeah.
Perfect.
But someone had to have made the Tarians.
Exactly. Oh, dude, I'm with you there. And see, like, I'm the first person that said, I used to be like, I'm an atheist because I thought, that was like kind of a righteous way to denounce religion because I thought it was kind of bullshit. But I realized that by being that way, I was no different from the people that I, had a problem with. So what I realized was, I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. I can't. There's nothing I can do to control that. So in my eyes, there's nothing I can do about it. So I have critically thought, though. Okay, something. Okay, let's say we roll with the Big Bang Theory, and that's the truth.
Okay,
What started it?
What started the Big Bang?
What started the Big Bang? Yeah, we don't know.
Right. Yeah. What came first, the chicken or the egg?
Exactly. So, I mean, that's the hiccup in any single, and it doesn't matter what theism it is that no matter how sure you are, how much you feel it in your heart, or the amount of facts or knowledge that you have from ancient wisdom to current science, is there's always that little doubt of what started it first. And we don't have the answer. And that's totally fine. But the answer could be us. We started it. That we started it first, and we are our own virtual reality. The same way that you log into what's your favorite video game right now?
Any of the Call of Duties.
So we would have to be not human though.
No. I know. And there's
In
a
order
lot
for this
Right.
theory that you're going with right now, we couldn't be human.
No, and there's a lot of people that think that our reality that we live in. This is getting so far
The people that
off.
made us could have like 8 arms.
Right, exactly.
We
But
could
there-
just be their avatar.
Good point. There's a lot of people that believe, and this is a viable thing to critically think about. And we're going to stop talking about this because we can do this for fucking hours. But to think that what is the difference between the life that we live in now? Could it be just as much of a video game as whenever you play Call of Duty? And further than that is, how do we know that? Dude, I fucking lost my train.
You're playing a fucking video game, Jeff.
Yeah, I know.
Playing a fucking game.
That's why I can't think right now.
Because
I'm thinking too critically about it, and my operating software is like.
Sometimes you get so deep in your own thought that you forget where you started.
You're full of fucking shit.
No, I'm not.
You're full of fucking shit, Jeff.
He's not.
You're full of fucking shit.
No, what you don't like is that I'm critically thinking out loud, and I've lost you.
It's fucking. It's fucking. Yeah, you're critically thinking of fucking myths.
He's not crazy.
Myths. You're fucking.
I'm not saying he's right or wrong, but he's not crazy.
I'm not. I'm just saying, like.
I remember what it is that I was going to say.
Can you explain it without losing him again?
Yeah, I could. Okay. There's a theory that we don't, like, the human species or whatever it is that we are, got so far advanced and so far down into technology, which we are doing. Okay, we hold our phones at all the time, where we want technology inside of our brain. We want the chip. We want the little blood things that cure we want to become immortal. So what could very well be is that we did that already. And that to figure out where it is that we came from, whatever our higher species is, could have started the science experiment that is planet Earth.
So we're like an algorithm.
Perhaps, yeah. Yeah.
We're not an algorithm. Sorry, we're a simulation
To see
to
what
just
happens.
to find information.
What happens whenever you sprinkle a little bit of hydrogen, a little bit of oxygen, a little bit of carbon, a little bit of nitrogen, all onto a big giant piece of dirt. And really, whenever you, if you think about that, that's like a very simplistic way or scientific way to almost analogize God and creationism. But then instead of giving that power to the divine, instead it's us, what we are, trying to figure out what we are.
I mean, I understand that side of it where you're picturing that if you're talking about where did the Big Bang came from and how did we get to where we are now. But as you're talking about virtual reality moving forward, no.
It's
No, because you fucking to do it.
what you have to. I've
in
like
order to get into it, you would have to know the difference between the two.
No. It's like I broke you is what I did. I broke your thought process here.
No, I think I think it's fucking retarded. I don't. It doesn't make any sense.
You
It doesn't
are
make any sense.
offended because what I'm saying is outside of your wheelhouse of critical thinking.
No, I can picture what you're saying. I'm just saying you're full of shit. I'm not anything.
Okay, but why?
Other than that.
What makes you say that?
yeah.
What is it that makes you want to? What is it that?
Don't just say that he's full of shit.
Right.
Defend your
How
side.
are you going to be in virtual reality, and fucking if you're playing a fucking video game?
I'm unbiased. By the way.
okay.
I
So
don't
you're
want
playing-
I don't
you're
want you to
playing-
feel like I'm on his
Yeah.
side. I'm not on his side.
No. So you're playing virtual reality. You're playing a video game.
Experience. Don't think of it as a matter of like controlling playing. Think of it as an experience.
Right. Okay. So you put on your suit and you put on your goggles, and all you see is this hotel room.
Okay.
And you got to go take a leak. You take a leak. You're taking a leak inside your suit. You're immediately going to feel that as you on your suit. So you would
Hold the mic back up to your face.
in hand take the suit off,
Okay.
and then you're no longer in the virtual reality world.
Okay. So let's say you have to pee in virtual reality world, right? So then you peel the suit off. You still have to pee in real world,
That's what I'm.
right? Okay. So what's the difference?
The actual it happening.
Okay. So how is it that you know that the feeling that you're feeling in the real world is not also of a simulation of something that you
What
don't-
about what?
Because you have to put yourself in the situation to feel the
And how do
simulation.
you-
How about
how do
every
you know?
time? How about every time you have to pee? Okay,
This is just an
I see.
example.
This is-
Okay, or
you're in a
you're
weird
in the
spot. I guess-
simulation. In a simulation, I'm going to walk out into the fucking highway
See,
and get ran over by a truck.
Okay.
Okay, the simulation is then over, and you're.
We're all sitting up now. This is getting.
Right, yeah.
And so then.
Okay, all right. So what you're
Okay.
okay, I understand what you're saying. You're thinking in a very short scale, finite experience. Okay, of like we play video games for an hour at a time. Okay.
Also, keep in mind you're assuming that the people controlling us have to pee.
And you're also assuming.
I guess so.
Yeah. See, that's the thing is you have to remove your human experience out of
Yeah,
what it is that
You're
I'm.
human.
asking.
You only know how humans
I
feel.
think we're talking about two different things, if that makes sense.
we could be.
We're talking about two separate ordeals. You're talking about the Big Bang Theory and where you started and how.
Well, we're going back to
that was-
now
that was-
we've created what we are today is a completely different topic than our technology and virtual reality world that we're in and how to differentiate the two.
they're
Those are
actu-
two separate topics.
They
they intertwine.
They intertwine. Yeah, that's a good way to say it. They
guess.
coexist parallel to each other because you can't have one without the other. So anyway, okay, Scott. Whenever you turn on your video game, okay, that takes a physical act.
Correct.
All right. Now imagine having a virtual reality where you turn it on and you're on. Okay. Now think of you play for 2 hours. Okay. Now imagine an existence where that 2 hours lasts 90 years. But that 90 years is only 2 hours long to whatever it is that is experiencing you, Scott Gebgen. Okay. You have to think of it in a much larger scale. That's the type of virtual reality experience that we're talking about here. I'm not talking about like putting on a suit. Okay. I mean, I gave that as an example, but the point is the existence that you are in today, right now, your whole life could be one gigantic video game, and there's no way. Listen, I can't prove it.
Right.
But you also can't disprove it.
Sure.
So there's validity to the theory.
Theory.
Yeah.
Heavy on the
Yeah,
theory.
yeah.
I never said, listen, we never said this is 100% factual.
We're just saying this is an option.
Yeah. All options are on the table. That is just, okay. How we got started on this. That theory is more likely of the human experience mathematically, percentage-wise, than coincidental evolution.
And babies also come to you delivered from a stork.
Yeah.
And that's also a theory.
Yeah. But statistically, the likelihood of us being in virtual reality is more likely than that of Big Bang to now.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know that part.
But it's,
I'd like to see the
but
statistics.
we're also, but guys, we're talking about tiny percentiles.
What is your tattoo?
Is there an Air Jordan on that, by the way?
Oh, yeah.
There's an Air Jordan dunking.
Not only is it an Air Jordan, it's Jumpman tattoo of an alien sucking up the air.
No, this one. Is this a sidekick?
That's a sidekick, yeah.
You have a sidekick tattoo.
Yeah.
Dude,
Let me tell you why. Because I wanted to document my favorite piece of technology that has ever existed to date.
He had so many. He had, 4 or 5 different ones?
4 different sidekicks.
Four different sidekicks.
It's the greatest thing that I've ever owned. And then on this leg, I have a tiger with sunglasses shooting laser beams out of its eyes.
Where's your virtual reality tattoo? Is that next?
No, I'm in it.
You're in it. So then your tattoo isn't real. It's in the virtual reality.
Well, the virtual reality that I exist in offers tattoos.
Oh.
Yeah, so I got some while I'm here.
Good deal, yeah.
So then whenever I wake up
How
from
did we
this...
get to this topic?
I don't remember.
So you won't have any.
Yeah, so then whenever I wake up from this little thing that I'm in right now, this little video game that I'm playing...
Is it
90
normally
year
like
this 2 hours?
Or is just every podcast completely different for you guys?
Every podcast is completely different.
They're never the exact same thing.
Like, they're never... Like, how close do they get? Like...
Sometimes we'll touch on topics, but no,
Yeah.
not the shows are never the same. You need to go listen.
Yeah.
Okay.
You'll be a fan, I hope. I would think so.
Yeah.
I would think you would enjoy it.
So Mike, our other guy that we do this with, is the most aloof, like happy-go-lucky, just excited to be a part of anything type of guy. And so he adds some serious comical relief between Scott and I who disagree very strongly on things.
Everything.
Yeah.
We're best friends because we hate each other.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? And we never see eye to eye on anything.
But
Except for how to ride a motorcycle.
Yeah,
that's probably the only thing we agree on.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I just
Even
like,
then-
I
even
just
then we
like
disagree.
listening to thought-provoking things.
Yeah.
So...
And that's, I mean, listen, I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying you're right. I'm not saying you're right.
I was trying to get us off this subject, and I thought I did a pretty good job, and then you just immediately went back to this.
Yeah, but
That's how it works
yeah.
too. That's how it works too.
But it's just one of those things. I don't have the answer. I'm just
Nobody
saying-
does. You're not gonna know.
Nope. But if you haven't heard it somewhere else, you heard it here first on Over the Bars podcast.
That is very
And
true.
then I'm surprised you're not telling them to go listen to Pulp MX or something because you're pimping Joe Rogan as much as
Did
you
you
are.
ever see my meme?
That's just a common ground we have. So that was just...
that's how we got started on it.
Well, see, here's a common ground. I want to know about this boot brand you're wearing. What are you wearing?
And
They're
what is
Red Wings.
Red Wings, attaboy.
my sir?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Thank you,
I had to
sir.
work on a project this morning for college. We're modifying a zip line for a camp.
Which is way cooler than anything we've talked about. He's way cooler than we are, Jeff. He drives a 77
again, it
El
sounds
Camino.
cool, but it's really not cool.
Are you riding the 03 YZ now, currently? What's your current motor?
YZ125 is what I bought from the guy. I raced that. I got that in like November. Raced that at Marion
Had all winter long.
for my first race.
Right.
And then I
last year.
raced one race, maybe two of this current season on that, and then got a 17 YZ250.
Okay.
F.
Yes.
Okay. Sick.
So it was definitely a big change. And I think that helped my starts a lot.
Oh, I'm absolutely sure it did. So anyways, back to these Red Wing boots. You had to wear them because you're modifying a zip line at school or on a school project?
It's for school. Our school, we have to do like a community project kind of thing that's based in engineering.
And he fucking gives back to his community, Jeff. This dude is fucking winning across the board.
Is there anything you don't do that you're... are you one of those guys that, like, if you pick up a basketball, you're guaranteed to make it in the hoop every time?
I'm awful at basketball.
Okay.
I am really bad at basketball.
Cool.
That's so you're wearing Red Wings, you drive an El Camino, you ride a Yamaha, you rode a two-stroke for a while. Your first bike was a 98... You basically have a mullet right now.
Yeah, people probably think that I look like a redneck, but
What's your Instagram?
No. I don't have an Instagram.
Yeah,
you don't have a fucking Instagram.
No, that makes you're a man's man.
Yeah,
sir. When I grow up, I'm going to be like you are at 21.
Yeah. So I mean, I applaud you for all of those things. How do you even know there's a racing?
What do you mean?
How do you have time?
Yeah. Huh?
How do you have time to race a dirt bike?
If you're not
too busy,
you make me sound way more interesting than I am. I'm like a normal college kid.
Yep, in your reality, but in my virtual reality, okay, I wanna live in yours for a day. Yeah. So whenever I log out tonight, I'm gonna log into yours.
Do you have any pets?
I have 2 cats, Homer and Ham and Cheese.
See, I'm just saying you can find like something interesting about everyone if you really tried.
Yeah, that's not very interesting about Jeff. Jeff sucks. Don't talk about Jeff.
Do you have any hobbies outside of motocross?
No.
Motocross related hobbies.
Yeah. This is a hobby.
This is this is interesting. You get to meet all different sorts of people all the time.
I know. Listen, I am extremely interesting. But I'm just trying to build you up here.
I appreciate it.
And you know, okay, now here, let me sell it even further.
Okay.
It takes an interesting person to recognize an interesting person.
Oh, wow.
And then I'm just over here being me.
Mean.
Mean?
Yeah, mean.
M-E-A-N?
Yeah,
mean?
you missed the N part of, I'm being mean.
Jeff. Fuck you.
You just get so offended so quickly anytime that I question something of yours.
What? Look, question me.
We just argued for 45 minutes.
I'm not even like mad about it. I'm just
going
saying,
down the rabbit hole. We need to calm down right now.
Whatever. I'm not. We're done with that. So I'm not even going to.
You're getting upset right now.
No, it's like fine. It's fine. We're not going to see eye to eye
on it.
point
when he just said that.
We're just not going to see eye to eye on it.
Well, you know what? That's very fascist of you to try to.
Close-minded thought of you.
You are a fascist and a Nazi, and you're.
No, I'm a Nazi.
KKK, anti-gay. No.
You have listed off so many things tonight that I am not.
Nope.
That I am so far
from. But he
has
listed off something that you are? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know. At least I didn't wear a neck donut in 03.
That's fine. You know what? I own that neck donut. I owned it.
Are we getting donuts in the morning?
Never have regrets.
Dude.
Do you want to know a cool thing with regrets?
What?
Like, I heard this quote, and I think it's really cool. And we were just talking about the whole neck donut thing. and I don't think anyone should ever have any regrets. And you know why?
Because every regret is a opportunity to...
No, none of that bull crap. None of that.
He doesn't have Instagram, Jeff. He's not looking at Instagram.
This isn't sappy or anything like that. Every choice you made, you thought that was the best choice to make at the time.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Absolutely.
And so if every choice you make, you thought was the best choice, then there's no reason to have regrets.
I'm just going to go ahead and do this right now. I'm going to... You're no longer going by your name. It is now Confucius.
Confucius.
You're the Confucius of
Do you remember my name?
Yeah. Stephen.
Okay. All right, cool.
Stephen, I don't know what your last name is.
Kirk.
K-I-R-K, Kirk. Yep. Your dad's number 2 on a Kawasaki 450.
Close. You're half right. He doesn't have a Kawasaki. He hasn't had a Kawasaki in like 2 years.
He rides KTMs, all right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, did he used to ride Kawasaki?
Yes.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, you know him. Just
Hey,
he's on
did
a
I
different bike.
piss off your dad? Do you know?
Hey, look, if you think
yes, that means
no, that means no. Everyone thinks that they pissed off my dad. My dad talks very loud. He takes everything very seriously, and he doesn't mean anything by it.
Does that sound like me?
Okay,
He means nothing by it.
Okay.
90% of the time. Whatever
this is-
happened, I guarantee you he was not mad at you.
Every time that I've ever talked to him, we've gotten along. It's just hearsay of what I heard someone say that he disagreed with something we said on this podcast.
Oh, he'll disagree. Oh, I'm sure he'll
And,
disagree
like,
with something we say on this
Right.
podcast.
And like was
And he'll make sure he
it
knows.
was like vehemently against whatever it was that I was saying.
Yes.
Now
yeah, that sounds like him.
okay. So I mean, I didn't know if I legitimately pissed him off or he's just one of those guys that's kind of like me, extremely opinionated, not afraid to say it.
Oh, that's 100% him. Extremely opinionated, not afraid to say it.
Yeah.
That's, if you could sum up my dad, that'd be the way to do it. Yeah.
Nice.
That's definitely how he is. But he's not going to hate you for it.
Right.
I mean,
yeah. Respect to that.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to figure out where I get defensive and all mad just because I say you're full of shit.
Are you defending yourself right now?
I'm trying to
He
figure
is.
it out. Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
This is
Is
what
this
you're
me
do-
being defensive?
Yes, it
I
absolutely-
feel like I'm being inquisitive. I'm asking questions. I'm trying to figure this out.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to look big picture in the fucking virtual reality world that we're in right now, so I can
We're away
understand.
from that topic.
So I can understand if I'm going to walk into traffic and be okay or not.
You are because you're going to wake up
Don't try this at
from
home.
your VR
For everyone
As
that's
a-
watching,
Try this
for everyone
experiment.
that's listening, don't try this at home.
as a vegan. What did you say? Tritons. What were our master race?
Tarians?
Tarians. As you're going to wake up as a Tarian. And
Great. Now
Tetra.
I just
Hold on.
accidentally
With my
started like a
fucking
whole new
8 arms.
religion, and there's going to be like a Tarian
Tarians.
following or
Yeah.
something.
And now, hold on.
I bet there is one already.
How many? What is Tetra? 5?
Yes.
All right. You're going to have 5 arms.
Fuck yeah.
Like a starfish. You're going to wake up as Patrick.
That's an exact representation of me as
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So then what are you going to wait?
Can we look? You're getting him back.
I know. I'm roping him back in.
This is not
Get
what we're
me
trying
in.
to do.
It's not where we
Get
went.
me in.
What do you ride?
I ride a Honda 450. Right now I'm riding the couch.
What year?
17 and an 18.
Wow.
Yeah.
450.
He's got
Man's
that
motorcycle,
he's got
not
that.
a little Tiddler 2-stroke 125. Ding, 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 ding.
Dude, my bike's sick because it's got a muffler
Muff,
on
muff.
it.
I can't wait to hear that bad boy.
For
rip,
real,
dude.
Did you?
Yeah.
Have we talked about?
He doesn't
do you
even know
about
what
the muffler.
muffler. He doesn't have Instagram. He doesn't know what muff muffler
That's
is.
right. You don't have Instagram.
God, what a smart man. I like where you're headed with it.
Do you like read the news?
No.
Or?
You read the newspaper?
Gosh, no.
I know that you have a Facebook because A, we're friends on Facebook, and B, I crept on you before this to kind of get
Oh,
a little.
really? Okay.
Yeah.
Did you see my El Camino?
No,
Dude, actually, I want to send a picture over. I want to put that in the announcement post. I want the El Camino in it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
We need a picture of your El Camino.
Okay. I can do that.
I might make a.
Well, you were going to ask me something before we get to
I
it.
don't remember.
Do you
said- I
shave
know you have
regularly, or do you?
I hate
does it just
shaving.
grow in like
And
that?
I can't grow a good beard at all.
I can see that you're trying.
So, no, I'm really not.
I mean-
I'm just lazy. There's the difference.
Okay, fair enough.
Probably about like once a week, like I say once a week, maybe like every week and a half, 2 weeks. I'm like, I'll shave now.
Is this about it? Is this
And
about as much as
I
you get?
never actually shave. I only just use the clippers with no thing. I've never actually use a razor, and I just
Like
shave
you
it all.
never ever have, or you just don't?
I just don't.
Okay.
Since
I
was
figured when you put the Red Wings on, it would just immediately be there.
fluff
I
out
wish.
for that.
If I could grow a nice beard, I totally would. I wish I had
Give
a
it
beard
time.
so
Give
bad.
it time. It'll come. When I was like 14, I started growing facial hair, and I used to shave it off, and I was like, this is dumb. I'm just going to let it grow. And then eventually it did grow into a full beard by the time I was like 17 or so. I pretty much had
The last time
Like a
I
good
was,
full beard.
about
Or like mine?
about what yours is
Yeah,
right
yeah.
now, yeah. And then around 19, 20, I could grow like about what it is now. But between then and 2 years ago, whenever I had a shave to do the inside track videos for Feld, I never used a shave like a razor. Never.
Yeah.
And then I did it. I even bought my shit off a Dollar Shave Club. Used it 3 times like the actual shaver. I was like, dude, this sucks so bad, and just went back to the clippers with no
Yeah,
guard.
clippers are the
haven't-
way to go.
I haven't been clean shaven since I was probably 16 or 17.
Yeah, but you used to get infections on your neck from
I did
shaving.
for a while,
Yeah.
but now I razor shave all this right here. All that's razor shave the legit way.
That explains your fuckboy look. With those,
Do you see what you? Do you look in the mirror and see you?
you realize that we're pretty much wearing the same thing.
Stop it. Do not compare your Vans to my Vans or your joggers to my joggers.
Or my Fox shirt to
Or
your
your
Fox shirt.
to my Fox
Yeah.
shirt. Or,
Or
your
my-
innovative MX hat to my innovative MX hat. Stop it.
Or the fact that we both have facial hair
Or
and short
facial
hair.
hair and
Yeah.
short hair. Stop it.
You're right.
You don't know what you're looking at.
Spitting image. God. Except a little less love handle on me.
Well, yeah. Dude, I'm weighing in at the heaviest I've ever been.
What do you
right
weigh?
now. I'm 196. What, 2 days ago? 2 days ago, 196.
That's funny because I'm 193 and I'm lighter than I've been in 2 years.
And who's the fat one?
Dude, it's all tripod.
That's, yeah. Mine's all spare tire. You can thank the Tom. I can thank the Tom for that.
What do you weigh, Steven?
190.
Yeah. It's a good weight.
We're all really close.
Yeah.
I was just under 180 when I got hurt. And since then, it's been off the program.
When I went to Loretta's in 14, the least that I weighed was 176, and I looked like I had an eating disorder. And I was like on the program of programs. It was terrible.
Programs.
Yeah. All right. Well, we've been doing this for 2 hours. I'm ready to go to bed. It's 10 minutes till midnight.
Yeah. Steven, thank you for joining us. I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
We probably didn't cover all of your
I don't think we
story.
covered much of anything,
you know
but,
what? But you're
we covered-
21. You're a
Yeah.
college student. You drive an El Camino. You wear Red Wings.
I do community service.
You do community fucking service. You're
And-
going to be an engineer.
And you got yourself a really clean Timex that you picked up from Target.
No, I went to visit my brother in Texas, and he had one, and I was like, "Hey, order me one at the Amazon."
Amazon.
The Amazon?
And the
Yeah.
Amazon.
On the Amazon? Nice.
It's super cheap, and like I always wear a watch.
Yeah.
And normally I wear a G-Shock, but this sounds gross. Okay, I always wear a watch. I shower with it. I sleep with it. Everything.
It's just on.
But a G-Shock gets gross
Yeah.
fast. And so that's the only reason I was like, well, I want to wear a G-Shock because it's durable enough to wear all the time. And so that's why I just went to like this cheap, like $20 Timex because it doesn't get gross.
Yeah.
And if it breaks, I can buy another one.
I've got a leather band Timex. It's very similar, slightly smaller face, and the casing of it is like a brushed instead of like polished, and it's black, and then a brown leather, and then the face of it is kind of it's got that luminescent thing where you push it and then it lights up blue. Yeah, just like that. It's a good looking watch. $33 at Target. I just broke it the other day.
Cheap watches are the way to go.
Dude, yeah.
Like I'm a watch person and I've always worn watches, and cheap watches are this is the one I go back to.
There's these two guys that I used to run around with that were big time watch guys. Scott, I'll tell you who it is after we get off the podcast. I went and hung out with them and lied to them about my watch and told them that it was an investment, that I dropped $7,000 on a Timex, and they 100% believed me. It was like they were flies on a hog farm and I was selling them shit. They believed it. And I was like, you guys are such fools. It's amazing what people will believe whenever you just tell them that your watch costs them
Confidence
$7,000.
is everything.
Absolutely. Oh, I sold it to them. And then and then after
Always selling.
After
Always selling.
after dinner was over, I was like, by the way, the reason I call this a 33 Washington Timex is because I literally paid 33 Washington's dollars for this Timex.
Do you think you have to always sell or buy things in the virtual reality world? Or do you think it even matters? How many watches do you wear when you have 5 arms?
I'm ending your virtual reality. I'm going to unplug you.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Why don't you bring up my neck donut while you're at it?
Hey, Jon-Paul brought that up. I just jumped on the wagon.
Yeah, thank you for that. So, Stephen Kirk,
Yep, that's me.
Most improved rider.
Most Improved Rider
KMCS
2018, KMCS, Big Bike Rider. Go ahead and take this moment to thank your sponsors.
My coach, my mechanic, and my sponsor, my dad.
Right on.
And that's
The trifecta.
yeah.
The trifecta.
Cool.
That's awesome.
Anything else you'd like to add?
No, had a lot of fun here, and definitely, gonna be tuning into you guys. So
Whatever you do, do not. If I can give you advice about motocross,
okay,
and you don't have Instagram, so you're already 5 steps ahead of the game. But
Okay.
should you ever decide to post about your motocross races, don't say that you learned a lot and that you're looking forward to the next one.
And always thank them, not can't thank them.
Yes.
okay, start over. Okay, Sig, don't post anything.
No, you can post stuff.
Okay,
Post all you want,
what did
because
you
posting
say?
about
Yeah.
dirt bikes is kick
Well,
ass.
okay,
Do
okay,
that
go
all you
ahead
want.
and
Yeah, but whenever okay.
say what you just did.
All right, and this is a good advice to heed to
He
all.
doesn't have Instagram, so he doesn't. You
Right.
need to put a
Okay.
little more frontage on
Here's
it.
what people do. They get on Instagram and they post a photo of them or results and they say, not the results I was looking for, but I learned a lot this weekend. Looking forward to the next one. # trust the process. And
I can pull one of those up on Facebook right now that someone I know just posted. Last week. Yeah,
And it's so copy and paste. It is so ingenuine. It is so,
Well, then
it's lowest common denominator.
the end of it will follow with, but I can't thank my sponsors. They'll
Yeah.
list out their sponsors and forget to put enough at the end, or they put it
Yeah.
in a weird spot.
They
It
just
doesn't
say,
make
I
any
can't thank
sense.
my sponsors.
So say thank you to
My sponsors.
sponsors.
But most people, what they're trying to say is, I can't thank my sponsors enough. But here they are. It's a saying that people say and don't know that they're saying it. And so many people say it,
And say
I
it
can't
wrong.
thank my sponsors. And then they go on to thank their sponsors.
It's kind of like when people say I could care less when
Instead
they
of I
really
couldn't.
mean I couldn't care less.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. And I'm gonna close this out with one quick question.
Okay.
Is it 6 in one, half dozen in the other, or 6 of one, half a dozen of the other?
Is it about that? I have no idea what you're talking about. Is this a saying? or
Yeah,
something?
Scott.
I'm not familiar with the saying.
I don't know. Now you've got me fucked up thinking about it because I think I usually say it so fast, 6 in one, half a dozen in the other. Like I don't even put the words together.
It's almost like you say in and of.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, I say in and end. Nick Peterson says of and of. And I'm trying to figure out where the dialect.
I think it's of. I think I say of. 6 in one, half a dozen of the other. It's of. I say of.
You say of. Because where the people that I've heard it from, 6 in one. Do you understand the saying?
No.
Okay.
Oh, I mean, I wasn't really paying attention.
It's like it's like
I was just listening to you guys talking about the dialect, not actually the saying itself.
okay. So it's like comparing apples to apples. Okay, it's the same whether you call it 6 or half a dozen.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, either way, you're still getting to the same end.
That's like the whole. Okay, when you think about the movie, I say Pirates of the Caribbean, but when I think of the place, I say
the
Caribbean.
The Caribbean.
Yeah. Which is the correct pronunciation.
Which is weird because it's the same thing, but just depending on how I.
Put it together in a sentence.
Yeah, it's completely different.
It's an idiom, where the general public would say Pirates of the Caribbean, and if you say it Pirates of the Caribbean, it doesn't roll off the tongue quite as smoothly.
It's also because we're from the fucking Midwest.
We
And this
do
is the way
live
we
in
talk.
the
We're in Park City, Kansas right now.
surrounded by corn. Okay, cool. Thanks for listening to the Over the Bars podcast. Go to on Instagram over.the.bars and on on Facebook it's OTB podcast. You can find Scott and his operation at Innovative MX, and then your website is innovativemx.com.
Correct.
Okay. And then you can find me on Instagram, Rippin' Ruts, at Rippin' Ruts. And then my Facebook is Rippin' Ruts Custom or something like that. And the next episode is going to be about I'm going to talk to the guy from the Riverfront GP. So if you haven't listened to that, listen to it directly after this. Stay tuned to our Over the Bars podcast. Thanks for listening. Thanks to our sponsors, Kansas Motocross Championship Series, Donnell's Motorcycles Incorporated, Bar to Bar MX, That's it. Yeah. Well, Fox and Fox, but those are our personal sponsors.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
We're going to get into that. We're going to talk about my switch to Cycle Zone here soon.
Wonderful.
Not right now.
Steven, thanks, dude.
Yeah, thanks
It's
for coming
fun.
on.
This was a good podcast.
And I'm
Thanks
very
for coming on.
excited. I'm glad that you're not an idiot, too. Not to say, I just kind of
No,
expect,
I understand
We
what
didn't know
you're
what
saying.
to expect. We didn't know if we were going to have to carry the conversation like 100% and ask like get yes and no answers. You never know what you're going to get, and you handled yourself well. It was nice.
Yeah. You're a professional.
A gentleman and a scholar.
A gentleman and a scholar. I tip my cap to you, sir.